Tonight's meeting of the Metropolitan, Nashville, and Davidson County Council is coming to you live from the council chambers at the historic Metro Courthouse. It's a public affairs presentation of the Metro Nashville Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Nolan, your announcer for this program. Tonight, the 15th Metropolitan Council holds its 63rd business meeting of a 4-year term. This is the 9th council meeting of 2022. Tonight's council agenda is 42 pages long. It involves 103 pieces of legislation. That includes 36 second reading bills on zoning bills on second reading. They're on public hearing tonight. 11 resolutions, 13 first reading bills, 18 second reading pieces of legislation, and 21 ordinances on third and final reading. On the agenda, there are also 6 appointments to city boards and commissions. That includes 1 to the Metro Beer Board, 4 to the Sports Authority, and 1 to the Zoning Appeals Board. Tonight's meeting is again being held during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. State law has stripped the Metro Health Department of any power to continue a mask mandate in all city-owned buildings. The CDC says that Nashville remains in an area where indoor masks are not required, therefore wearing masks here tonight is not required. Another major legislation tonight, the council will consider RS 2022-1475. It places on the August election ballot 4 amendments to the Metro Charter, the city's constitution. There are several amendments that have also been filed about those amendments that will further debate tonight on whether to put those on the ballot tonight. One of the amendments would change the process and clarify the process to amend the charter, which has been the subject of controversy and lawsuits in recent years. A second proposed charter change would clarify the physical fitness qualities of Metro Police. A third amendment would impact the operations of the Metro Health Department. A fourth proposed change would establish in the charter the Metro Department of Transportation, which has already been done through a memorandum of understanding between the Departments of Public Health and Metro Water Services. In order to go on the ballot, all 4 proposed amendments tonight must receive individually and collectively 27 yes votes or approval by a 2/3 vote of the council. All 4 amendments have already been approved by the city's Charter Revision Commission. Under the charter, the council has the power to go to the public twice to place charter amendments before voters, twice during their 4-year term. If approved, this would be the first time this particular council would do so. In the area of affordable housing, the council will likely approve Resolution RS 2022-1506. Legislation would allocate $1.775 million from the Barnes Fund for affordable housing to 14 nonprofit organizations selected for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable or workforce housing. In the area of parks, RS 2022-1507 approves an option agreement between Metropolitan Government and the state of Tennessee to authorize the purchase of property located at 88 Hermitage Avenue. The state already owns that property. The city desires to purchase it to use as part of Nashville's park system. The Board of Parks and Recreation has already approved this acquisition. The parcel is a little over 3.1 acres. Metro government would pay $20.3 million to the state of Tennessee for the property. By the way, a fiscal note from the council staff, the 2021 appraisal value of the land being purchased, according to the assessor of property's website, is $14.441 million. There are only 2 memorializing resolutions on the agenda tonight. One is RS 2022-1514. The bill would recognize the Ryman Auditorium, the Mother Church of country music, and its 130 years as Music City's most famous and respected concert venue. The other memorializing resolution is one that's late filed to recognize Donaldson Christian Academy Wildcat football team as the 2021 Division 2A state football champions. On second reading, the council will again consider BL 2021-971 to create a new Office of Metro Housing and Homelessness to better address those issues and programs. There is a substitute bill to make amendments to that proposal as well tonight. Also on second reading, the council will consider BL 2022-1164 to further regulate construction work sites and noise. Under BL 2022-1169, the council will consider another lease agreement for a Metro charter school. There have been several before the council in recent months, with one being approved, one withdrawn, and another failing to receive 21 votes on final reading. There is a split in the council about this matter. Some do not like charter schools, thinking they take funds away from public schools. Others say charter schools are public schools and need to be properly supported. BL 2022-1217 on second reading tonight involves Metro awarding a 10-year contract to Oracle, a multinational, huge technology business with soon to have a major presence here in Nashville. The contract would pay Oracle $15 million for hosting services of e-business suite R12 and the PeopleSoft pension calculation system. Council approval is needed because this is a sole source contract, meaning Metro purchasing officials have determined that Oracle is the only one source for these services because they're here to be rendered in this area. On bills on public reading, BL 2022-1073 would seek to change the requirements and zoning regulations Metro would enforce regarding local daycare facilities and homes. BL 2022-1140 would involve rezoning property involving the River Chase apartments in the Dickerson Road area. A few months ago, the residents complained they were being forced out with no time or help to relocate. The council deferred the bill at that time to rezone and asked them so they could get some help. Residents are supposedly going to be here tonight and may perhaps speak and protest about the particular bill go before the council. Among late bills tonight, one would approve a resolution, a 5-year, $6 million contract with Waste Management of Tennessee to continue to assist the city with its trash pickups. It's an area where Metro has struggled in recent months. This will continue the progress that's been made recently using outside contracts with firms like Waste Management, and this contract is actually cheaper, I'm told, than some of the emergency contracts have been. If you want to follow tonight's council meeting as it goes forward, you can find the agenda and the staff analysis. Just go to the Metro Council portion of the Nashville.gov website, and then onto the Legislative Information Center. We'll also be placing the bill numbers on the screen when they come up for consideration, so you can follow along and keep up with where we are on the agenda. Let's go now to Vice Mayor Jim Shulman. He'll be gaveling tonight's council meeting into order shortly.
Here she comes. Let's go. Will the meeting please come to order? We welcome you to the Metro Council. Today is Tuesday, May 5th, 2022. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And happy 30th birthday to Councilmember Zach Young, who is not here yet, but is supposed to be coming. There's some lovely flowers on his desk. Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation this evening will be offered by Ahmad Ul Hadi Sharif. He is an inman at Al Farouk Islamic Center and a guest of Councilmember Colby Sledge.
Good evening and peace be upon you all. I'm Ahmad Ul Hadi Sharif, one of the Muslim faith leaders in middle of Tennessee, the Imam and the religious director of Islamic Center of Williamson County. I am a husband, father, son, friend, neighbor, and proud Nashvilleian. And on behalf of Muslim community, I say thank you. Thank you, Council, and thank you, Council Member Colby Sledge, for inviting us today. So let's pray. I'm going to start my prayer with the opening chapter of the Holy Quran, and I will recite it in Arabic, then translate it into English. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, which can be translated into, in the name of Lord, the Lord of Adam, the Lord of Noah, the Lord of Abraham, the Lord of Jesus, the Lord of Prophet Muhammad, and all the prophets of God. May peace and blessing be upon all of them. The most compassionate, the most merciful. Praise be to God, the Lord of the universe, the most compassionate Lord, the most merciful, the ruler of the day of judgment. You alone, O Lord, we worship. You alone we ask for help. Guide us, O God, to the straight path, the path of those who have received your grace, not the path of those who have brought down your wrath, not of those who go straying. Dear God of mercy, you are the creator, the savior of this world. Please, dear God, accept our thanks to this day and its blessings. Thank you, God, for the life that you had given to us, for the opportunity that you had given us to serve the people of this great city. While serving this great city, oh God, we ask you that you guide us to be the leaders that the people need. Oh God, we ask you to help us to act with good conduct and character, to listen with understanding and goodwill, and to speak with kindness and restraint, even to those who disagree with us. Dear Lord of the universe, remind us that we are humble servants of yours, under your authority, and forever we are in need of you. Finally, our Lord, the Lord of the compassion, the most merciful, we ask you that you renew this council with the strength and joy of helping the community, a community that is built upon equality and justice for all, far, far from racism, prejudice, and rhetoric. Amen, and thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. You may be seated. Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for adoption of the minutes of the meeting from April 19th, 2022, properly second? Without objection, the minutes of the meeting will stand approved as written. Mr. Clerk, any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
All right. So a couple of things tonight before we get started, just a few. One is that I know some of you may be trying to get out of here to go watch the Predators play tonight. I think puck drop is at 8:30. Don't be going anywhere. We don't have a lot of members, so we'll try to get through this the agenda fairly quickly. I did want to take just a minute. Obviously, we had elections on Tuesday. Congratulations to all the candidates who ran for office, whether you won or lost. I will say that I think all of you probably saw a number of those candidates out running very, very diligently. As you all know, it takes a tremendous amount of courage and effort to put your name on the ballot and get out and run. And congratulations for all the candidates who did that. It's very important to do, and I just wanted to say thank you. Okay. Budget ordinance is available now by either going to Legistar or going to the Metro Council's website and looking under resources under the Metro Council website. We are still waiting for the digital budget document to become available. If you actually want a hard copy of the budget document, then talk to Ms. Hayes, talk to Rosie Hayes. And one other thing before we move on, Councilmember Hurt, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is very sad day for me particularly, and as it should be for the Nashville community at large. I really wanted to start talking about the measure of the man, but I wanted to make sure that I stayed respectful of time and present something that I think that would make Dr. Boyd proud. So I wrote some notes and thoughts. Dr. Theophilus Bartholomew Boyd III. I've heard it numerous of times and was in awe of the name. Just to hear it, it sounded like royalty. And in my opinion, he absolutely was. This is an enormous loss to the Nashville community, and particularly the North Nashville community. Born and raised here in Nashville, Dr. Boyd gave his time tirelessly and money generously to the Nashville community. While many talk about him being a fourth-generation CEO of the RH Boyd Publishing Company, formerly the National Baptist Publishing Company, he was also a third or fourth generation chairman of the board of Citizens Bank. I think it was his uncle who actually started when it was one cent saving bank on Jefferson Street that started in 1904. He served as the co-chair of the Board of Trustees at Meharry Medical College, on the Foundation Board of Tennessee State University, and so many more. Under his leadership at Citizens Bank, he funded mortgages for churches, homes, and small businesses when it was not possible or popular to do so. He was the originator of the idea to create an African American museum in Nashville that include history and music. His idea came to fruition after a couple of decades of work for what we now know as the National Museum of African American Music. Dr. Boyd loved music, dancing, and laughing. I recall one year my husband and I went to a masquerade ball that the Nashville Lynx held, and we went as Ike and Tina Turner. And I tell you, we went in the room fighting, and Dr. Boyd laughed all night long. And that was in October. And at the time, I was working at Meharry Medical College, and I was staff for the Board of Trustees. And they have a fall and a winter meeting and spring meeting. And I went in January to the winter meeting, and Dr. Boyd saw me, and he started laughing again. And what was so funny about that is most people never saw that side of him because he was always a cool, collected, very professional kind of person. And I was always asking him questions like, what does that TB stands for? Where did it come from? Why you drive that red Mercedes with that drive? I thought that's your car right there. You gonna let me drive it? Always going to him and saying things, and people just did not approach him that way, and I did. And he laughed and laughed and laughed. And I really want people to know and understand the work that he really did for this community all over the Nashville community at large. He was truly a blessing for us all and will be an immense loss to this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You all should give him a hand, I promise you. You can do better than that. Because all of those hymnals that you see in your churches came from the National Baptist Publishing Board, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurt. All right, so we are now ready for elections and confirmations. Councilmember Pooley, have you got this one?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Rules, Confirmations, and Elections Committee considered the following individuals for appointment. On the Beer Permit Board, Ms. Carolyn Perry, and the action the committee took was to recommend deferral of one meeting, 5 in favor, 0 against, because she was unable to attend the Rules Confirmation meeting.
Okay.
On the Sports Authority Board, we considered Ms. Kim Adkins, Mr. Winston Justice, and Mr. Aaron McGee, and Mr. Michael Zira. And the board recommended approval for Ms. Adkins, Mr. Justice, and Mr. McGee, 6 in favor, 0 against. And Mr. Zira, 5 in favor, 0 against. The Zoning Appeals Board, we considered the appointment of Mr. Peyton Bradford and recommended approval, 5 in favor and 0 against. I have 2 administrative matters to bring up as well. I'm going to need to ask for a suspension of the rules for Mr. McGee as we got his questionnaire in just a little bit late. And I would like for the minutes to reflect that the correct spelling of Mr. Peyton Bradford's name is Payton. And as a Georgia graduate, he really wants Tennesseans to know that there's another way to spell Peyton, and it's not like Manning. So I would move to suspend the rules to get Mr. McGee before us.
Thank you, Councilmember Pulley. Do we need to suspend the rules to get the right name spelling for this?
He wants to suspend something, and it has to do with University of Tennessee. So I'll leave that to you, Mr. Bradford.
We'll take care of the spelling. If
Okay,
that's okay. But for purposes of getting the reappointment of Mr. Aaron McGee before us tonight, we will need to suspend the rules. So Councilmember Pulley has asked for suspension of rules because of the late filed questionnaire. Any objection to suspension of the rules to go ahead and consider Mr. McGee tonight? Seeing none, rules are suspended.
With that said, I would move approval of all the candidates.
All right, so what we've got is approval of Ms. Kim Adkins for the Sports Authority, appointment of Mr. Winston Justice for the Sports Authority, Mr. Aaron McGee for the Sports Authority, Mr. Michael Zara for the Sports Authority, and we've also got Mr. Peyton Bradford for the Zoning Appeals Board. Those are the ones that we will be voting on tonight. The Miss Carolyn Perry will be deferred for one meeting. All right, so the motion is to approve the ones that we named, properly seconded. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the reappointments and appointments we've stated, say aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes. Councilmember Hager, you all right? Okay. All right, so if you don't mind, when we call out your name, just stand up and remain standing so we can thank you properly. Sports Authority, Ms. Kim Adkins. There's Ms. Adkins. Mr. Winston Justice. Mr. Aaron McGee. Mr. McGee. Mr. Michael Zara. Did I say your name right? Okay, thank you. I've been pronouncing it differently up here, I think. The last one was right, good. And Mr. Peyton Bradford. And did I pronounce your name correctly? Peyton? Okay, good. All right. Thank you all for being willing to serve as part of Metro. We really do appreciate it. All right, and you all are welcome to stay, or you can go and get comfortable on the couch and watch the Predators play if you want. All right, we are now, I believe, ready for bills on public hearing. This is on page 2 of the calendar. Here's how this works for those of you who have not been here before. I will call up the bills one at a time, refer to the sponsor. Unless the sponsor moves to defer the public hearing, the sponsor will call for a public hearing. I will then ask for a show of hands for those who are here in favor of the bill. Then I will ask for a show of hands for those who are here in opposition to the bill. If anyone in favor of the measure wishes to speak, I will ask you to come forward, find the microphone, introduce yourself, and give us your address, and then you'll have 2 minutes in which to speak. I will then ask if anybody opposed wishes to speak, we'll do the same thing. After that process, I will close the public hearing and then refer back to the sponsor. That's how it works. All right, so we are ready We are ready for the first measure. It's item number 1 under bills on public hearing. It's on page 2 of my calendar. BL 2020-479, ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from MUN, MUNA, MULA, MUG, OR 20 CS and CF to MUNNS, MUNA-NS, MULA-NS, MUG-NS, OR 20 NS, CS, NS, and CF NS zoning for various properties located between Rosedale Parks Boulevard, 2nd Avenue North, from Hume Street south to Jefferson Street, located within the Germantown Historic Preservation District overlay. Councilmember O'Connell, you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Withdrawing this bill and the next one, which is kind of a companion. So.
All right, so Councilmember O'Connell is withdrawing item number 1 and item number 2, ordinance amending chapter 17.36 and 17.40 of the Metropolitan Code pertaining to creating an owner-occupied short-term rental overlay district. You have withdrawn both, okay? Members of the public, items 1 and 2 have been withdrawn. We are now on item number 3. Bill 2022-1061 by Councilmember Rutherford, ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at 14656 Old Hickory Boulevard, southern terminus of Harris Hills Lane, 81.38 acres, to permit 291 single-family residential units, and we can take that with item number 4, BL 2022-1062. That's the companion bill. It's a proposed specific plan zoning district located at 14656 Old Hickory Boulevard. The proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Rutherford, you're on both your bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for deferral on both bills to the first meeting in July.
Okay. All right, so the motion is to defer both 1061 and 1062 to the first meeting in July. That's the motion, properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral motion? Seeing none, everybody in favor of the deferral motion say aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes. Both those bills are deferred to the first meeting in July.
Thank you.
We are now on item number 5, BL 2022-1073. Council members Cash, Evans, Allen, and others. An ordinance amending section 17.04.060, 17.08.030, 17.16.035, 17.16.170, and 17.20.030 of the Metropolitan Code to delete the daycare home use, create new daycare home small and daycare home large uses, and to update the requirements for opening a daycare home or daycare center. Councilmember Cash, you are recognized on your bill.
Thanks. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay, declare the public hearing open on BL 2022-1073. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of the measure. A show of hands of those who are here in opposition to the measure. Councilmember Cash, I didn't see hands up.
I did not either.
Okay. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Cash, you're on your bill.
Thanks. So there's a substitute that came from planning. Do I move that first?
Yeah, you can go ahead and move the substitute.
I'd like to move the substitute.
All right, so Councilmember Cash has moved the substitute, properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation of the substitute.
Thanks. So let me give a little background on the bill, too, because the substitute obviously relates to it, and it'll be clear if I explain them both. So basically, as part of a work that I did on a special committee that you created on childcare, we studied a number of issues relating to childcare, especially that there is a dearth of childcare opportunities. In some parts of Nashville, we have childcare deserts. And this is one idea that came out of that committee to change a few things about home care. Basically, what this bill does is currently somebody can take care of 1 to 4 people or children in their home. There are conditions that have to apply, such as like if there's a play area, there has to be a fence. You have to have a parking space. There can't be too many, there can't be more than one on the same block or within 1,000 feet. And then from 5 to 12 children, you have to get a special exception from the Board of Zoning Appeals. What this bill does is takes that 5 to 7 and makes it permitted with conditions, and then anything above that, you have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. My bill originally had my bill originally had that it applied to the UZO, and what planning, the substitute that planning recommended, that I believe I'm fine with if my colleagues are, is that it applies to the whole county.
Okay.
And I think this is, we do have folks, you know, we've talked about housing and other issues with families that are having trouble affording living in Nashville. This is another one that they're having trouble finding and affording childcare, and I think this offers some opportunities for that. And like I said, the substitute mainly moves from, it applies to the UZO, and the substitute applies to the whole county. So I'd like to move the substitute.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Cash. Councilmember Cash has moved the substitute ordinance on Bill 2022-1073, properly seconded. Discussion on the substitute. Seeing none, we are ready to vote. All those in favor of the substitute say aye. Opposed, no. The substitute is passed. Councilmember Cash, you're now on your bill, BL 2022-1073, as substituted.
Thanks. Move the bill as substituted.
All right, so Councilmember Cash has moved BL 2022-1073 as substituted for passage on second reading, properly seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, ready to vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Councilmember Cash.
Thank you.
We are on item number 6, BL 2022-1090 by Councilmember Sledge. Ordinance to amend section 17.40.720 and 17.40.740 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to increase the number of fee waivers for certain rezoning requests initiated by a member of council. Councilmember Sledge, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Withdraw.
Okay, that bill is withdrawn, so 6 is withdrawn. We are now on item number 7, and I believe we can take this with item number 8. These work together by council members Henderson, Murphy, and Withers and others. BL 2022-1121, item number 7, ordinance to amend Title 17 to amend Chapter 17.12, 17.24, 17.28, 17.36, and 17.40 pertaining to the cluster lot option, and then BL 2022-1122, that's item number 8, ordinance to amend Titles 2 and 17 to amend Chapter 17.24 and 17.28 pertaining to tree protection and replacement, and to amend Chapters 2.226, 17.20, 17.24, 17.28, and 17.40 to make associated housekeeping amendments. Councilmember Henderson, we've got these two bills together. You are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Okay, declare the public hearing open on both bills. We're on BL 2022-1121 and 1122. Declare it open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of those measures. A show of hands of those who are here in opposition to those two measures. Didn't see anybody on either side. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move the substitute as offered by planning staff with a brief explanation, please.
Okay, we're on, are we on the first one, 1121?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we're going to, we took them together, but we'll have to deal with them separately on substitutes. BL 2022-1121, Councilmember Henderson has moved a substitute. Is this the second substitute?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I believe, and one may be a third substitute, but second substitute.
All right, I'm just checking. I've got it down here as the second substitute. Councilmember Henderson has moved a second substitute on BL 2022-1121, properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Colleagues, this has had an extensive stakeholder process as managed by staff. Really grateful for staff's work on this bill, Ms. Pike and Ms. Shepard, and with an extensive stakeholder process, and many emails in your inbox, did want to point out Cumberland River Compact, Southern Environmental Legal of Tennessee, the Nashville Tree Conservation Corps, Radnor to River, really, and also the Harpeth Conservancy. So extensive engagement from our environmental nonprofits in support and endorsing this bill, and unanimous approval at Planning Commission. So the fact that you're not seeing anyone here in support, that's, I think, because we've had a really good process and everybody feels confident about the bill. So with that, Vice Mayor, I would renew my motion to substitute, please.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has renewed her motion on the second substitute, again properly seconded. Councilmember Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to speak in support of the bill as it is, and will be introducing an amendment to the bill. I will wait to introduce it on third reading, but the amendment just adds, there was a concern that as the bill was written, it prohibited recreational areas such as playgrounds, athletic courts, and things like that. This bill does attempt to reduce disturbance to the natural areas, and I am supportive of that. I think we need that. This cluster lot option comes up a lot in T3 community policy areas, and there are a lot of T3 community policy areas in my district, in District 3. And there is a need and desire to preserve those natural spaces. However, when we're looking at allowable uses and we're looking at walking trails and bike trails being allowable uses that we do need, I believe that recreation is just as important, and that there is a way to allow a recreational area that's limited using permeable structure or pavement, so that we're not disturbing, minimally disturbing the natural area. So as I said, I'll wait until third reading to introduce the amendment, but definitely support the bill, and just want to speak to that amendment since it is in your packet today.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Gamble. Any other discussion? We are on the second substitute. It's a motion to pass the second substitute. Seeing nobody else in the queue, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the second substitute say aye. Opposed, no. Substitutes on. So, Councilmember Henderson, you're now on BL 2022-1121 as substituted.
I'd like to move approval, please.
Okay, so I got a motion to approve, properly seconded. Discussion on the motion to approve on second reading. Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. BL 2022-1121 as substituted passes on second reading. All right, now we're on number 8, BL 2022-1122. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized on that bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm looking to staff. Do I have a substitute on this one as well?
I believe so, yeah.
Thank you. I would like to move the substitute, please.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved the substitute on BL 2022-1122. Properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation, or you can refer to the staff.
I think, well, colleagues, it's housekeeping, but I would welcome staff to explain that if they would like. But I think we had left out maybe one section. This is reorganizing our tree protections. The various tree areas of our landscape code in Title 17 are in a variety of places. This is consolidating them in support of this legislation with some housekeeping and small changes. And I believe this was just a technical housekeeping. I see staff nodding. So
Ms. Milligan has the microphone. Ms. Milligan, you're recognized.
Certainly. Yes, Councilmember Henderson explained it correctly. This is simply to get some terms consistent throughout, and so it's just minor housekeeping changes from the original filing.
All right, thank you, Ms. Milligan. Councilmember Henderson, you've got a motion to approve the substitute on 1122. Again, properly seconded. Any discussion on the substitute? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the substitute on 1122 say aye. Opposed, no. Did somebody scream from the back? Okay. Somebody's voting back there again. Okay. All right. So I think everybody up here was okay. So Councilmember Henderson, you are now on your BL 2022-1122 as substituted.
I would like to move approval, Vice Mayor.
All right. So it's a motion to approve, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of BL 2022-1122 as substituted, say aye. Opposed, no. Any people in the back want to vote? All right, so it passes on second reading. Thank you. All right, we're on number 9. This is Councilmember Parker, and we can take 9 and 10 together. It's BL 2022-1140 and 1141. 1140, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing RM20 to SP for properties located at 301 North 2nd Street and 651 and 660 Joseph Avenue, northeast corner of Dickerson Pike and Meridian Street. It's 14.52 acres, located in a planned unit development overlay district, permit a mixed-use development with non-residential uses, 1,150 multifamily residential units. And the companion bill, which is 1141, proposed specific plan zoning district located at 301 North 2nd Street and 651 and 660 Joseph Avenue, northeast corner of Dickerson Pike and Meridian Street. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized on both those bills.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We're going to go ahead and defer these, both these bills. As well as the next one. I don't know if we can take the PUD cancellation along with this.
Let's do them all together if you want to. Any objection? Seeing none. So it's item number 11, BL 2022-1142 by Councilmember Parker, ordinance to amend Title 17 by canceling a portion of a planned unit development overlay district properties located at 301 North 2nd Street and 651 and 660 Joseph Avenue at northeast corner of Dickerson Pike and Meridian Street. You're on all 3 bills.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm not going to hold a public hearing this evening, and I would like to move to defer these with just a brief comment.
How far do you want to defer?
Well, we'll defer out to the first meeting in July, which is the next opportunity for public hearing.
Okay.
And the reason for that, just for the viewing audience, is we don't have a public hearing in the month of June due to the budget public hearings. So with that, I'll renew my motion to defer out all 3 of these bills, items 9, 10, and 11, to the first meeting in July.
Okay. So the motion is to defer all 3, 1140, 1141, and 1142, to defer those until the first meeting in July. Properly seconded. Any other discussion? Good. Seeing none, we're ready to vote on the motion to defer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Those bills are deferred to the first meeting in July. Thank you, Councilmember Parker. We're on item number 12, BL 2022-1152. Councilmember O'Connell. You can stay right there if you want. It's 1152. It's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing IWD to MULA zoning for property located at 897 Elm Hill Pike, 430. It's approximately 430 feet east of Fessler's Lane. It's 0.34 acres. You are at Councilmember Taylor's desk. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's great to be over here in District 21, and I would like to open the public hearing, please.
This one, I think, at least we had a note about notices.
Yes, I think we did have a notice issue. Okay. We need to defer this to the first meeting in June. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's right. Okay, so it's automatically deferred to the first meeting in July. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, Councilmember Withers, you're next. This is BL 2022-1155. It's item number 13. An ordinance to amend Title 17 by applying an historic landmark interior overlay district properly located at 518 Russell Street, southwest corner of Russell Street and South 6th Street, zoned R8, and within the Edgefield Historic Preservation District. Councilmember Withers, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. For this one, as well as the next item, which pertains to the same property, which is the historic Tulip Street United Methodist Church. The applicant is continuing to work with staff and departments on that, and so I'm going to request to defer the public hearing to the first meeting in July for both items.
Meeting in July. Okay, let me go ahead and read 14. 14 is the next bill. Councilmember Withers is the sponsor bill, 2022-1156. Ordinance amend Title 17 by applying a neighborhood landmark overlay district to property located at 518 Russell Street, southwest corner of Russell Street and South 6th Street, zoned R8 within the Edgefield Historic Preservation District. So we're talking about BL 2022-1155 and 1156. The motion is to defer to the first meeting in July, both those measures.
Yes, please.
Properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral motion? Seeing none, both bills, all in favor of the deferral motion say aye. Opposed, no. Both bills are deferred until the first meeting in July. We're on item number 15, and we can take that with item number 16. This is by Councilmember Toombs. Bill 2022-1190 by Councilmember Toombs, ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from CS and IWD to SP zoning for properties located at 2405 Plum Street, 2600 and 2604 Dickerson Pike, Plum Street unnumbered and Dickerson Pike unnumbered at the northwest corner of Rock Street and Dickerson Pike. 5.22 acres permit a 349-unit multifamily residential development, and the companion bill for a proposed specific plan zoning district located at 2405 Plum Street, 2600 and 2604 Dickerson Pike. The proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized on both those bills.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Request to open a public hearing.
Okay, declare the public hearing open on both 1190 and 1191. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of these two bills. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to these two bills. Didn't see anybody on either side. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized on both your bills.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Okay, Councilmember Toombs has moved for approval on second reading of 1190 and 1191, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of 1190 and 1191 for passage on second reading say aye. Opposed, no. Both bills pass on second reading. Thank you, Councilmember Toombs. Councilmember Hager, BL 2022-1192, ordinance to amend Title 17 by amending the 4130 Andrew Jackson Parkway Specific Plan District located at 4130 Andrew Jackson Parkway, 950 feet north of Chandler Road, 2.04 acre zone SP to permit the addition of 1,962 square feet. Councilmember Hager, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the request to open the public hearing, please.
Declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Didn't see anybody on either side. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Hager, you're recognized on 1192.
Move for passage, please.
Councilmember Hager moves for passage, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. 1192 passes on second reading. We're on BL 2022-1193 by Councilmember Stiles. Councilmember Stiles. And we can take this with BL 2022-1194. 1193, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by applying a historic landmark overlay district to property located at 5797 Mount View Road, approximately 1,050 feet southwest of Mount View Circle Zone AR2A, and BL 2022-1194. This is the companion bill for a proposed historic landmark overlay district. The proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized on both your bills.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open public hearing.
Okay, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of these two measures. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to these two measures. Councilmember Stiles, Councilmember Stiles, I didn't see anybody with hands up back there. Okay. Perfect. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized on both your bills.
Yes, I would like to move for approval with a brief comment, please.
Okay, so Councilmember Stiles has moved for approval of 1193 and 1194 for passage on second reading, properly seconded. Back to you for discussion.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. This is actually one of I think the only piece of historic property in my district. So being able to put this historic overlay is really important to be able to preserve the history on this site. So I appreciate passing it this evening.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to approve both 1193 and 1194 for passage on second reading. That's the motion, properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of the passage of 1193 and 1194 on second reading say aye. Opposed, no. Both those bills pass. Zach. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm recognizing Councilmember Henderson for a motion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move to suspend the rules, colleagues, to put Resolution 2022-1475, which is item number 37 on your agenda of resolutions regarding the charter amendment, because we need to have a strong quorum and 27 members for that, and we are a little lean this evening.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved to suspend the rules so that we can get item number 37, RS 2022-1475, to be considered right now. Okay, this is the resolution that has amendments in it that go to the charter. It requires us to be on the board on most of these amendments, and then on the final proposed substitute. Does anybody have any objection to suspension of rules to get this matter before us right now? Seeing none, rules are suspended. We are now on item number 37, RS 2022-1475 by Councilmember Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is we are on a charter revision process. We don't do this very often. These are amendments that come before us that will then, if they get through the council, will be then voted on by the public. And so these are very important, and we make sure that we take the time to do these things right. And with that said, Councilmember Henderson, you are recognized on RS 2022-1475.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I guess I would ask for a committee report, or do I move the resolution first?
You can move the resolution. Yep. I'd move resolution RS 2022-1475 for passage. Yes. Properly seconded. Now, back for a committee report.
That committee report
which I believe is yours.
To me, as Chair of Charter Revision, yep. Yes. Vice Mayor, and I think just by way of explanation, colleagues, so you understand the items that I am speaking of, the Charter Revision Committee met on Monday to take up Amendment 1B offered by Councilwoman Johnson. At last meeting, that amendment was in your packet for your consideration, and Councilor Johnson kindly provided an explanation for that amendment at the time. We discussed it in committee, and we approved it unanimously, 5 in favor of the amendment, 0 against. And then, Vice Mayor, in an effort to have a substitute that was aligned with that amendment, Substitute 2, which contemplated the passage of Councilor Johnson's amendment, was then moved and unanimously approved, 5 in favor, 0 against, none not voting.
All right, so that's the committee report. All right, so we are now, Councilmember Henderson, I think, if I'm following this correctly, you have moved resolution RS 2022-1475, properly seconded. The proper move right now would be to move Amendment 1B to Charter Amendment 1.
Yes, sir. I would like to move Council Lady Johnson's Amendment 1B to Charter Amendment 1. And Council Lady Johnson, would you like to give a brief explanation?
All right, so let me get so Councilmember Henderson has moved Amendment 1B to the Charter Amendment number 1, properly seconded, and she's referring to Councilmember Johnston for an explanation of what 1B does.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think it may be more prudent to have Councilman Mendez explain his amendment first, because my amendment is amending his amendment. So let's find out what we were starting with, and then we can go with what I'm doing, because I think that's just mentally how people understand better. So I'd like to yield the floor to Councilman Mendez.
All right, Councilman Mendez, you're recognized.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. So the First Amendment in the resolution has to do with a full rewrite of Article 19, which is about amending the charter, and the purpose of it is to deal with the fact that litigation cost and uncertainty related to referendums in Nashville has gotten out of control. The city is spending more than $1 million a year. There's all sorts of lawsuits over the last couple of years. And this rewrite of Article 19 attempts to stabilize that process, bring certainty, reduce litigation. And there's a number of fixes that are all driven off of what various courts of appeal have written about over the last number of years. One area is that it makes it so the number of signatures is fixed based on number of registered voters instead of floating like it's been for years. It also causes legal review before signatures are gathered. We've heard that when the lawsuits happen after signatures, people feel aggrieved because they tried to put something on ballot. 94 other counties in this state do the litigation before the signatures are gathered, if any, and so this would move any fight to before people have to sign it. There's been litigation over how the timelines work, and this would lay out the timeline in a more specific way to attempt to reduce the fights over that. And also, this would itemize the reasons that a petition could be rejected in advance based on what the case law has said. Overall, the idea, again, is to stabilize and give more predictability on the timeline, how many signatures are needed, et cetera, and to overall reduce the litigation cost. We definitely need to do something to fix it. Article 19 has turned out to be imperfect. Now, moving on to the amendment that's been moved from Councilmember Johnston, I'm fine with it. It tweaks one thing of the multiple things that are being fixed in the rewrite. It changes the number of signatures required from 15% of registered voters to 10%. I'm most interested in it being fixed on a firm standard number of registered voters instead of floating up and down all over the place like it's been for a number of years. So the fact that it's 10% or 15%, I'm more interested in a fixed standard, which the amendment retains, and I'm interested in consensus, and I think her amendment hopefully brings consensus. I'd rather the other number, but this is fine because it keeps the ability to have it by a fixed standard. So hopefully that explains what the overall rewrite of Article 19 does and the amendment, which I'm fine with.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Mendez. Councilmember Johnston, back to you.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. My amendment was meant to be friendly, and that I think that the other aspects of Councilman Mendez's amendment are very important for the clarity and stability of that entire process that we've seen such instability and like he says, litigation surrounding. I did put some information together for you that is on your desk. Just to put it into perspective, the actual numbers that we're looking at. So we have a total of 480,894 registered voters in Davidson County. The voter turnout for the last 5 general elections has varied from 102,000 to 312, which was the last presidential election. So at the current, a 10% of voter turnout varied anywhere from the low 10,200 and some change to change the to put an amendment on the ballot via referendum to 31,000. So what the current amendment would do is change that to 15% of registered, which would be a little over 72,000 required signatures. What I'm proposing is that we reduce that to 10% of registered voters, which is 48,000 and some change. So I'm hoping that everyone can understand this is in the spirit of compromise, and I hope that everyone is in support.
All right, so members of the council, we have an amendment to approve Amendment 1B to Charter Amendment 1, which is Councilmember Johnston is amending Councilmember Mendez's amendment that happened last time. All right, so discussion on the proposed motion. Again, it's changing that one section of Councilmember Mendez's provision from 15% down to 10%. Okay? Questions on the amendment? This is important. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. All right, looks like, Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
And Vice Mayor, I did want to clarify as well, subsequent to a kind of a review and approval by the Charter Revision Commission, petitioners would then have 90 days through Councilwoman Johnson's amendment as opposed to 75 days as contemplated. So again, it's lowering the percentage threshold, increasing the number of days to get signatures. Just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Stiles, you good? Okay, all right. All right. Anything else? We are ready to vote. We're voting on the motion to amend, it's Amendment 1B to Charter Amendment 1. We're moving it for passage. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes. So 1B is now on Charter Amendment 1. So let me make sure I've got this right. Got it. Okay, so Councilmember Henderson, I come back to you, and it would be a motion to approve a substitute number 2.
Yes, Vice Mayor. I would like to move to approve substitute number 2, please. And then, colleagues, I would also point you to on your desk with the Metropolitan Council Office rest here is kind of a run of the order of things that we are proceeding this evening. And I know Vice Mayor will talk us through it as well, and Ms. Darby, but if you need kind of a reference point on your desk as we work through these amendments, just want to bring your attention to that. So with that, I would move substitute 2, please, Vice Mayor.
Got it. All right, we've got it. So the motion is to approve substitute number 2. Councilmember Henderson has moved that. Properly seconded? All right. Now, so that's what we now have the substitute before us, and now we're going to start moving charter amendments, okay?
Correct.
So we're holding the substitute and waiting for amendments to come through. So the first one is Charter Amendment number 1. Councilmember Henderson, I can go to you, or I can go to Councilmember Mendez.
Vice Mayor, if you would, I feel that Councilman Mendez has just explained Charter Amendment 1 by way of discussing the amendment to it earlier. But I mean, I would welcome Vice Chair to describe it further if he would like, but it was previously described in the discussion of Amendment 1B.
All right, Councilmember Mendez, anything? All right, so Councilmember Henderson, move Charter Amendment number 1.
Yes, Vice Mayor, I would like to move Charter Amendment 1, please.
All right, and it's properly seconded by Councilmember Mendez. Okay, so questions on Charter Amendment number 1? Seeing no hands, no discussion, we're ready to vote. Now, each of these requires 27 votes. So, Mr. Clerk, we're going to put these on the board. It's another part of amending the charter. This will require 27 votes, so I need people in their chairs voting. Mr. Clerk, if you don't mind, tell me when you're ready. You ready? All right, so we are voting on the motion to approve Charter Amendment number 1. It's been moved by Councilmember Henderson, seconded by Councilmember Mendez. We are ready to vote. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Councilmember Hauser? Looking for a vote. Good. All votes in. Mr. Clerk, close the machines. Take the vote. Ayes 30, no 0, no abstentions. Charter Amendment 1 passes with 30 votes. All right, Councilmember Henderson, we are now ready for Charter Amendment number 2.
Okay, Vice Mayor, I would like to move Charter Amendment 2, please, for approval.
All right, Charter Amendment number 2, the motion has been made, properly seconded. Explanation, Councilmember Henderson.
I guess I would defer to one of our sponsors, Councilman Pulley. Would you like to describe Charter Amendment 2?
Councilmember Pulley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Briefly, what this amendment does is about 4 to 5 years ago, state law allowed for permanent legal residents, honorably discharged veterans to become police officers. So this would parallel that state law and open up our applicant pool more, which is certainly desperately needed. And I believe it also help diversify that pool as well. The second piece of this, the police department's been operating under the old Army Navy physical requirements, and what this would do is this would allow the Civil Service Commission and the medical director to set those physical requirements, which would be more up to date. I believe that covers everything, and if I've missed anything, I'm sure you can go to Mr. Jamerson and he can correct me. Thank you.
All right. So we are on Charter Amendment number 2. It's been moved by Councilmember Henderson, properly second. Discussion on Charter Amendment number 2. Seeing none, we're going to go on the board. Mr. Clerk, we are voting on Charter Amendment number 2. Requires 27 votes for passage. Machines ready? Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Mr. Roten? Are you done? Councilman Roten, could you come to the front, please? Is Councilman Roten's vote in? Okay. All right. Mr. Clerk, close the machines, take the vote. Ayes 30, no 0, 0 abstentions. Charter Amendment number 2 passes with 30 votes. Councilmember Henderson, you are on Charter Amendment number 3.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move Charter Amendment 3 for approval with a brief explanation.
Okay. So Councilmember Henderson has moved Charter Amendment number 3. Councilmember Evans seconds. Councilmember Henderson, do you want to explain this one?
Yes, sir. Just briefly, this is a housekeeping amendment brought to our committee and the administration by the Health Department regarding the composition of their board, the Board of Health, and the various positions and professional the professions to be represented on the board, as well as getting some terms and titles in order. Have I missed anything, Ms. Darby? Anything else worth adding regarding the Health Department housekeeping amendment?
There was the one amendment at the last meeting that was a housekeeping amendment to the charter amendment that had the effect of changing the titles within their reference to the police department, the fire department.
Yes, so all T's crossed and I's dotted for the Health Department housekeeping amendment, colleagues.
All right, so we've got a motion to approve Charter Amendment number 3, properly seconded. You've heard the discussion. Any discussion, any questions? All right, seeing none, we are on the board. We are voting on Charter Amendment number 3. Mr. Clerk, tell me if you're ready. Ready? We are voting on Charter Amendment number 3. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Who's the second one? Councilmember Hager? That's okay. That's all right. We good? All votes are in. Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. Ayes 30, no 0 abstentions. Charter Amendment number 3 passes with 30 votes. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized on Charter Amendment number 4.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to move Charter Amendment 4, please, with a brief, for approval with a brief explanation, please.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved Charter Amendment number 4, seconded by Councilmember Young, who is now old enough to second charter amendments at 30. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Colleagues, this amendment contemplates and effectuates our Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure. Ms. Darby, so that I make sure that I cover everything, can you share the effect of this amendment, please?
Yes, so this amendment, number 4, removes the Department of Public Works from the charter. It uses Article 8, Chapter 4 to create the Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure, and provides for the responsibilities of NDOT and the qualifications of the director. It also places with NDOT capital expenditure oversight for transportation and right-of-way capital improvement projects, and removes some other functions from NDOT responsibilities.
Okay. Councilmember Henderson?
I would move approval, Vice Mayor.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved approval again of Charter Amendment number 4, seconded by Councilmember Young. You've heard an explanation. Questions on Charter Amendment number 4? Councilmember Mendez.
Thanks. On this one, so it passed through the Charter Revision Committee and Commission, but I think it's worth saying on the floor that this isn't exactly what the administration envisioned when we did the MOU to move garbage pickup over to water services. In particular, this amendment will not mention, it'll leave the charter silent on where garbage pickup goes, and we'll have to legislate by ordinance afterwards if the charter amendment passes. And I think everybody involved in the process from the administration acknowledges that this isn't exactly what it's not exactly everything they had in mind when we did the MOU. And I think a lot of us think it's not exactly ideal to have a service as important as garbage pickup not specifically referenced anywhere in the ordinance. I think from the committee's perspective, at least my perspective as a member of the committee, the value of formally creating NDOT is sufficiently important that we should go ahead and do this. But we all have to know, especially folks who are coming back for another term, we all have to know that the charter is now silent about where garbage pickup goes, and action and attention is going to be required for that. And I just wanted to make sure that part of committee discussion got said directly in the chamber also.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Mendez. Other questions, discussion? Councilmember Hurt.
I'm trying to, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm trying to figure out why it's necessary for us to change the charter to deal with trash. I mean, that seems to be, I think there's some other things that we've had concerns with that would warrant more of a charter amendment than trash pickup. I think that is an operational administrative issue that should have been handled long before now. And I'm wondering why this is necessary. Can someone explain that to me?
Mr. Jameson, you've got this one.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Hurt. When it was originally envisioned, the council then added an amendment to the previous, I believe it was the transportation plan, that had the MOU having Metro Water Services handle trash for all intents and purposes. Council asked that that last for 3 years, which is perfectly appropriate. The ordinance that would formally transfer it, assuming passage tonight, has been drafted and will be submitted promptly so that that is codified. Generally speaking, in response to your question, Terry Costonis at Metro Legal deserves an enormous shout out for her work on this, and she consulted the model charter provisions that are set forth in the Muni Code. And those model charter suggestions recommend a couple of things. One, they say for cities of sufficient size, you generally will want trash responsibilities segregated out to separate departments from Public Works. But it also cautions you to avoid putting into the charter operational details. It wants you to keep fairly broad responsibilities and then leave the operational details to administrative rules, internal rules, code provisions. So that was the outline for this charter amendment. It follows the Muni Code example. It also is intended to keep the 3-year duration that the council requested intact.
Councilmember.
So that couldn't be done just by an ordinance? We have to have it in the charter?
No, it will be. The trash responsibility will be done by ordinance. That is prepared. I believe Ms. Costonis has finalized it and is just awaiting this council's decision to affirm this charter amendment, and then she'll file that ordinance that designates the location of solid waste pickup for the next, I guess it's 2 years remaining.
I don't think I still understand.
Vice Mayor.
Councilmember Hart, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. To Councilor Hart's question, colleagues, I think, as we engaged the creation of NDOT, the National Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure, as we first engaged that discussion, what we had before us from the administration was the MOU that moved trash services and recycling into and under the water department. And so I think understandably, because both of these functions, transportation, infrastructure, trash, were all housed under Public Works, this has created some confusion in the community. Why is trash and recycle in the water department? And as we looked and engaged this charter process to start, and again, a months-long process inviting input from the body, the administration, there were those among us who were anticipating that in addition to making NDOT official in the charter, replacing Public Works, that we might as well be standing up a separate waste services department, a division in water, something to that effect, because it had come forward through the MOU where they were tied together, and there was some assumption, Councilman Mendez alluded to it, from Charter Revision Committee, that as we came to this process, we would be doing the same. But what I want to speak to is perhaps the merit in kind of bifurcating this conversation, wherein NDOT can indeed stand alone as chartered, and to move forward at this time. That's important in seeking grants and federal monies and really starting to get going. As we all in this body know, Public Works / NDOT has been, betwixt and between and a whole lot of volatility for several years now with multiple directors and so forth. So I think it would behoove the city and behoove Metro government to proceed at this time with standing up NDOT, making that official in the charter. And then that allows time to engage the discussion around waste services, recycling. Should it be a division? Should it stand alone? Both of those with this charter amendment can be done via ordinance. So there might be an interim measure and then a long-range, more involved discussion, which I know we all want to be a part of. And so in bifurcating this at this time, even though as we all started talking about this, they were together in that MOU, I think there is some merit in advancing, or not just some merit, there is merit in advancing NDOT through this charter amendment.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Henderson. All right, so here's where we are. There's a motion to approve Charter Amendment number 4. It was properly seconded. We've had discussion on it. There is no one else left in the queue. Any further questions or discussions? Councilmember Hurt.
So I'm trying to figure out why it is that we have Metro Water giving us a report every meeting about the trash and what's happening and what's going on. So I understand that I don't know if we're trying to keep them separated or if we are trying to make it one under NDOT or Public Works or Metro Water, what we doing, and I might need to get me a thesaurus or a dictionary to look up bifurcate and what all of that is. But anyway, I'm just trying to understand what's really being what's really happening here. I just want to make sure. I think I'm probably just going to abstain, because I don't really understand, but just wanted to.
So I've got
understand the part of Metro Water playing in all of this. Because see, I'm still trying to figure out why we're dealing with someone who filed bankruptcy on us and we can't pick up trash, and it just seems like it's something simple that could be done and we don't have to be so political about it, but just make sure that we take care of the people and get the trash like it needs to be picked up in a timely manner.
All right. So, Councilmember Henderson, Councilmember Mendez said,
yes,
so
please.
I'm going to go to Councilmember Mendez first, and I'll come back to you.
Thanks. I would encourage everybody, including my dear sweet friend that we've sat next to for 6.5 years, to vote for this amendment. I did not mean with my initial comment to be suggesting to not support this. It is important that we know that this amendment makes NDOT a formal thing under the Metro Charter, which is very, very important for the metropolitan government. My only point is to make sure that we know that for garbage pickup, solid waste pickup, we're going to be doing that by ordinance now, where it goes. Everybody thinks it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of Metro Water, but setting up NDOT formally is very important. And because we need the 27 votes to pass things, conscientious objection may tank the whole thing. So please, Sharon, vote for it. Thanks.
I'm looking for Councilmember Roten. He just used Councilmember Hurt's first name, and you didn't say anything. All right. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
I can't say it better than that, Vice Mayor.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that. Thank you.
All right. So we are voting on Charter Amendment number 4, okay? Again, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, tell me when you're ready to put it up on the board. Ready? We are voting on Charter Amendment number 4. It needs 27 votes. Everybody in? Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. Ayes 27, noes 0, 3 abstentions. It gets 27 votes. It stays on. Okay? So Charter Amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4 pass. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all 4 charter amendments, 1, 2, 3, and 4, approved, I would move the substitute charter resolution with the approved charter amendments, please.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved the substitute charter resolution with approved charter amendments. Councilmember Mendez has seconded it. Councilmember Druffel, just letting you know where we are. We have just approved charter amendments 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are on the RS 2022-1475. It's the resolution providing amendments to the charter. We are getting ready to vote on the final, which is the substitute charter resolution, which has all 4 amendments on it. All right, so the motion has been made. It's been properly seconded. Discussion on, this is the vote by the council. Discussion on the substitute charter resolution with the amendments on. Seeing none, we are ready to vote. Mr. Clerk? And this will take 27 votes. Mr. Clerk tells me the vote is ready, or the board is ready. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. We are voting on substitute charter resolution with the approved charter amendments. It takes 27 votes. They pick the date. Okay. Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. Uh, 31 ayes, 0 noes, 0 abstentions. The substitute charter resolution with the approved charter amendments passes with 31 votes. Councilmember Henderson, thank you for your work. Councilor Mendez, thank you. The charter amendments, I'm reading from Ms. Darby's special memo. What happens is the charter amendments and resolutions do not require mayoral approval. Once adopted by the council, as required by the Metropolitan Charter, certified copy of the charter amendment resolution as substituted will then be transmitted by the Metropolitan Clerk to the Davidson County Election Commission. Now, pursuant to the Charter Section 19.01, the Metropolitan Clerk shall immediately certify to the County Commissioners of Election copy of such resolution, and shall thereupon be the duty of said Commissioners of Election to hold a referendum election with respect thereto. Assuming that everything works out, we're thinking that these things will be up for vote by the public on August the 4th. Okay, August the 4th of this year. Councilmember Henderson, again, thank you for your work. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, so you just saw us working on the Metropolitan Charter. Thank you all for holding with us. We needed to get that done tonight. So we are now back on bills on public hearing. All right. We are on item number 20. BL 2022-1195 by Councilmember Stiles. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 by applying a neighborhood landmark overlay district property located at 5797 Mount View Road, 1,050 feet southwest of Mount View Circle. It's zone AR2A, permit the conversion of existing accessory structure into an additional dwelling unit and allow short-term rental uses. Councilmember Stiles, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to move for approval, please, Vice Mayor.
Okay, we got to have a public hearing on
yes.
first. I'll declare the public hearing open. Could I a show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure? Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Seeing nobody on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Stiles, you're on your bill.
Now I'd like to move for approval, Vice Mayor.
Okay,
please.
now you can move for approval. Councilmember Stiles moves approval on second reading, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. 1195 passes on second reading. We're now on item number 21, BL 2022-1196 by Councilmember Toombs. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from CL to SP zoning for properties located at 1400 Brick Church Pike, corner of Arctic Avenue and Brick Church Pike, 1.61 acres, permit a mixed-use development. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Permission to open the public hearing.
All right, declare the public hearing open. A show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. I see some hands in the front. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. And don't see anybody in opposition. Those in favor wish to speak. All right, declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs moves for approval of Bill 2022-1196, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of BL 2022-1196 for passage on second reading, say aye. Opposed, no. Bill passes on second reading. We're on BL 2022-1197 by Councilmember Young. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from CS to SP zoning for property located at 400 Edenwold Road, approximately 1,000 feet east of Gallatin Pike. It's 1.08 acres. Permit auto repair and warehouse. Councilmember Young, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Let's open the public hearing, please.
Okay, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. See a couple of hands in the back. A show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Seeing nobody in opposition, those in favor wish to speak. Okay, declare the hearing, the public hearing closed. Councilmember Birthday Young, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Still not quite as old as you, though.
Just keeps getting worse tonight.
I'm going to move for approval.
Councilmember Young moves approval of BL 2022-1197 for passage on second reading. Properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of BL 2022-1197 for passage on second reading, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bill passes. Thank you, I think, Councilmember Young. Item number 23, BL 2022-1198 by Councilmember Johnston. Ordinance to amend Title 17 from SCC to SP by changing zoning for a portion of property located at 3955 Nolensville Pike, approximately 115 feet north of Paragon Mills Road, with a plan unit development within a corridor design overlay. Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
All right, declare the public hearing open. We're on BL 2022-1198. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition of this measure. Okay, we have hands in opposition. I didn't see anybody in favor. Okay, so those in opposition, would you all like to speak? If you would, come to that back microphone. Come on and line up. I'll need your name, address, and then you'll have 2 minutes in which to speak. All right? That microphone right there. Again, name, address, and then you'll have 2 minutes.
Sure. Good evening, Council. My name is Mitchell David Torrance. Live on 3848 Samboni Drive, Nashville, right across the street from this zoning ordinance request. So, reason that I and a couple other homeowners are opposed is the light pollution. So it's supposed to be a neon sign pointing directly from that, I don't know what you call it, under embankment towards our neighborhood, the Paragon Mills neighborhood. There's already neon light stripping lining the entire roof line of the building. I believe this to be a nuisance if we were to bring on more light pollution into that area and to homeowners and residents in the Paragon Mills and Paragon Hills area. I understand that the council member's intention with this is to clean up that roadside embankment, kind of combine all of the kind of various signs into one singular unit, but the neon bright light is already kind of a nuisance to the homeowners in that area, and that's why I would like to. I understand the intention is good. However, the neon extra light pollution is what we're opposing today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody wishing to speak, come on up and line up. Thank you. I need your name, address, and you'll have 2 minutes in which to speak.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here, Council Member. Thank you very much for all that you've done for our neighborhood. My name is Ava Rose, and I live at 3850 Samboni on Paragon Mills. And the reason why I'm here is because I do not want the sign. I don't know how the sign's going to reflect. It's a hazard for us. Every time we have a tornado come through, we're out of lights. 2-3 weeks, a week. We have absolutely no lights. We already have very bad traffic at night with all the headlights coming forth. This sign that they're going to put on there, it's really going to be dangerous for our drivers. Not only that, at night after 9 o'clock with all the racket, all the music, all the endless amount of people coming out of this place, they come into our neighborhood and we're a dead end. So we have zooming traffic constantly with horrible lighting, except for lighting that's going to be very hazardous to us because it's on all the time. It's bad as it is now.
Good.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on this one? All right. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate that they understand that the intent is to clean up that area. We have multiple signs because there's multiple businesses in that particular development. This is the first I'm hearing of the opposition to it. So I wanted to go ahead and have the public hearing because they took the time to come down here tonight and speak their mind and give their opinion. So my intent is to defer until the first meeting in June, so that I can set up a meeting with the owners of Plaza Mariachi and my constituents so that we can work it out.
All right, so what you're doing is you're not approving anything tonight, is that right?
Correct.
You're simply deferring the vote on second reading until the first meeting in June.
Correct.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, typically, if you've been watching, after we close the public hearing, we usually take a vote on the measure. What Councilmember Johnston is doing is not taking a vote tonight, but deferring that vote on second reading until the first meeting in June. Okay? So we're not doing any voting tonight except for a deferral motion. All right? So the motion is to defer to the first meeting in June. It's properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none on the deferral motion, all in favor of the deferral motion to the first meeting in June, say aye. Opposed, no. Deferral motion passes. Thank you, Councilmember Johnston. All right, we're on item number 24, Councilmember Toombs. It's BL 2022-1199. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from R6 to RM15AN as the zoning for properties located at 21012 and 2116 24th Avenue North, corner of Simpson Street and something else. It's 0.46 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Is this the one that didn't have notice?
I think it is.
So it'll need to be deferred.
It'll be deferred to the first meeting in July. Okay. Okay. The next one is BL 2022-1200 by Councilmember Swope, and we can take this with the connector bill 1201. 1200, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from AR2A, RM4, and RS10 to SP zoning for properties located at 6578 Bluff Road and Bluff Road unnumbered, approximately 275 feet north of Stone Bluff Drive, 62.2 acres, permit 182 multifamily units, and the companion bill, BL 2022-1201, ordinance to authorize building material restrictions and requirements for 1200. Proposed specific plan zoning district. The proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Swope, you're recognized.
Thank you, Your Honor. Open up that public hearing, please.
All right. I declare the public hearing open on 1200 and 1201. A show of hands of those who are here in favor of those measures. Okay. See a hand in the back. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to the measures. Don't see anybody in opposition. Those in favor wish to speak? Okay, declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Swope, you're on your two bills.
Move approval, please.
Okay, got a motion to approve both 1200 and 1201 on second reading, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of 1200 and 1201 for passage on second reading say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Councilmember Swope. Councilmember Taylor, you're next. This is item number 27, BL 2022-1202, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS5 to R6A zoning. Property located at 2401 Meharry Boulevard, at the corner of 24th Avenue North and Meharry Boulevard. It's 0.26 acres. Councilmember Taylor, you're recognized.
Thank you. Open the public hearing, please.
Declare the public hearing open. A show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Didn't see anybody. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Taylor, you're on your bill.
Thank you. Like to move for approval.
All right, so Bill 2022-1202 moves for passage, properly seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2022-1202 for passage on second reading, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Item number 28, BL 2022-1203 by Councilmember Toombs, an ordinance to amend Title 12 by changing from IWD to MUG NS zoning for property located at 230 Cumberland Bend, approximately 860 feet east of Great Circle Road. It's 4.96 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Request to open a public hearing.
Declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Okay, I see a couple of hands. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Don't see anybody in opposition. Those in favor wish to speak? Okay, missing your television time. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs has moved for approval of 1203, properly seconded. All those in favor, looking for discussion, seeing none. All those in favor of BL 2022-1203 for passage. On second reading, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We're on BL 2022-1204, which can be taken with 1205. This is by Councilmember Swope. 1204, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from R40 to SP zoning for properties located at 5991 and 5991 Edmondson Pike, approximately 175 feet south of Banbury Station. It's 14.6 acres, permit 36 single-family lots. BL 2022-1205 by Councilmember Swope, an ordinance to authorize building material restrictions for BL 2022-1204, approximately 175 feet south of Banbury Station. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Swope, you are on 1204 and 1205.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to open the public hearing.
All right, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of 1204 and 1205. I see a hand, two hands, a couple of hands. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to those. Okay, so I have hands on both sides. All right, so we are on 1204 and 1205. We're going to start with those who are in favor. If you would, come on, line up. If you want to speak in favor, go ahead and line up. Name, address, 2 minutes in which to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Roy Dale at Dell & Associates, 516 Heather Place, and we represent Beezer Homes on this proposal. We actually have been working on this for a while. We had a community meeting a couple of months back or several months back that was probably attended by over 300 people. I also had a lot of meetings with individual property owners, and the results of all those meetings were fewer lots, larger houses, greater setbacks, more open space, more space between buildings, but most importantly, a major traffic improvement, which I'm sure the council member will discuss, that's much needed in the area. After the meetings we had, Planning Commission staff recommended approval. The commission approved the request for the zone change and recommended approval for the council. And so I can tell you that this is very, very well vetted. Again, we started out with over 300 people, so I think we're down to a few now. And Councilmember Swope's done a great job on this. He's been a great leader for his community, and I would hope that you would support this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Those in favor? Ma'am, come on up. Name, address, and then you'll have 2 minutes in which to speak.
My name is Susan Davis. I'm an heir to a property on Edgefield Pike. I wanted to verify that the addresses were correct on this bill, 5991 and 5991.
So I'm looking at the things 5991 and 5991.
So that's just one property? I understood there were two properties. That's the reason I'm requesting information.
Okay, I'm reading what I have in front of me. Usually we don't have this conversation back and forth, but this one seems to mean that we need to
I just think there might be an error.
Ms. Milligan, there's a question about, it's item 29 and item 30. Both my copies say located at 5991 and 5991 Edmondson Pike. Okay. Hold for just a second, we're checking. While she's looking, Councilmember Stiles, do you mind driving out there and taking a look? Okay.
So what I was checking was the mailed notice in regards to the caption. So it does appear that there was a typo in the caption. The map of the mailed notice is correct. So I think we would probably need to renotice those. Alex, I'm not sure, or I'm sorry, Mr. Dickerson, we might need to talk to legal, but it does look like that there was an error in the addressing of the, in the caption, but the map is correct.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yes, we'd recommend renoticing in this case.
Okay. So let me make sure I know where we're all going. So obviously we're in the middle of a public hearing, but there seems to be a question about proper notice. And so Mr. Dickerson is and I'm looking at Ms. Milligan as well, is the proper thing for us to
You messed it up.
defer this so we can make sure we have this right?
After consulting with Ms. Zeitlin, we'd say would be to close public hearing and then defer. And we'd have another public hearing once it's properly noticed.
Councilmember Swope, would you mind coming up here for a minute? Sure. Ma'am, hold on.
Because I cannot read every note. I'm trying to look. I think it's Logan. I just cannot keep the third or fourth noticing issue. And we have tons of cases, but
needs to be right. Right. Absolutely.
But if we don't fix it, yeah.
Don't you think it should be right? People.
Councilmember Withers.
I mean, a typo's a typo. My typing teacher would have gotten on to me. It's been a while. I don't know. It's just a typo. It just needs to be corrected. They not make mistakes before? Well, several people have seen this, so.
All right, thank you all for waiting. I'm going to try to explain at least what I understand has happened and then turn it over to Ms. Milligan with the planning department. So when we read the when we read the caption of the bill, notice that it had 5991 in there twice, but read it right through. Apparently, it's a good catch. There is an error. I think it's 5991 and maybe 5997. Okay, so there was an error type. Now, to be, we try to be very careful with this, and so obviously, if we have wrong information, then anything around 5997 would not have gotten the proper notice. Okay, so what does that mean, Ms. Milligan?
So we were discussing what we would need to do to get the proper notice. The mailed notices that go, so the sign was posted properly. The mailed notices that went out described what was being proposed properly and included the proper map. However, there was this typo in the address. That was an error on the part of planning. The developer prepared and mailed what we sent him, and so it was a typo on our our part. So we were discussing the options for when the public hearing could be held so that we can redo the notices with the appropriate address. And what we have been discussing was the potential of setting the public hearing for the first meeting in June, which is not typically done. I believe a suspension of the rules will be required, and Ms. Darby or Director Darby can explain that so that we can get it properly noticed to cover all of our bases.
So what has happened is, again, we need to make sure that we have the notices right. The first meeting in June, which is we always have our public hearings the first meetings of the month, but we don't have a public hearing for zoning bills the first meeting in June because we have a public hearing on the budget the first meeting in June. But if the council would allow, what we would do is have a specially set public hearing because of the timeline involved in this. So because it was an error that we made, the city made, we would have one basically the first meeting in June, okay? I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Swope, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you, because I think the proper thing for us to do is to close the public hearing and then have a specially set meeting in June to hear this properly. Councilmember Swope.
Thank you, Your Honor. With much regret, I do ask to close the public hearing. And you're welcome to go ahead and do that.
Well, is it Ms. Clark?
Davis,
I'm sorry. So do you understand what we're doing?
I understand. I do.
Okay, which means that we're going to cut you off right now.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not in opposition. I approve.
Okay. Thank you very much.
But there is an error, and it needs to be corrected.
We're going to, and I think some council members are talking about giving you a prize for catching this error. So.
Well, I'd hate to be the developer and go develop the wrong property.
Well, that would be true too. So I will turn it over to Councilmember Hancock to figure out if there's a prize. But thank you. I will close the public hearing. Councilmember Swope.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, everybody in this room knows that for 7 years I've been trying to get a roundabout at the intersection of Mount Pisgah, Edmondson, and Banbury Crossing. This is exactly what this rezoning is going to do. 3 mayors, God only knows how many people in Public Works and NDOT, and the list goes on and on and on, have failed to put the proper intersection or proper infrastructure at this intersection. Beazer came to me and said, listen, if we can get rezoning on this 14.6 acres, we will not only pay for this roundabout, but build it as well. So, as you've heard from Mr. Dale earlier, we had, well, this will be the second community meeting on this one, but the last one had over 300 people at it, at which NDOT was invited, Mr. Jameson was there. We basically pulled out everybody and anybody responsible and related to this. And everybody seemed to be in relative agreement as long as there were several conciliations made by Beazer, all of which concessions have been made under this particular legislation. It pains me that I didn't catch this. Of course, I don't see the mail-outs that go out to the developers, but it is 5991 and 5997. I know there's a couple of people here that are against this, and I'm going to speak to all of them, but like Roy just said, this started with over 600 people, and now it's down to a couple, and we get a roundabout out of it, which NDOT is completely in favor of and approving. Planning is in favor of it. Everybody's in agreement on this. So in the name of let's do this exactly legally correctly, because we're talking about building infrastructure for this city, not just building houses, I'm going to move to defer this one public hearing to the first meeting in June.
That's right. All right. So the motion is to defer to the first meeting in June for a special hearing on this particular matter. Do we need to do, and it's been properly seconded, do we need to do anything? No suspension of the rules, anything? We're good? At the next meeting, okay. So, okay. So the motion is to defer tonight to the first meeting in June. Properly seconded. Councilmember Swope.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would it be appropriate at all for me to ask to suspend the rules right now for the public hearing in June?
Well, that's why we were checking. We're trying to make sure we've got this right.
I would rather do that.
Ms. Zeitlin, anything?
So I'm going to amend my motion to suspend or to deferring this until the first public hearing as a special public hearing in June and a suspension of the rules to allow that to happen.
Okay. Properly seconded. So the motion is to suspend the rules through the motion to get this set, especially for the first meeting in June. Properly seconded. Any discussion on this very strange motion? Councilmember Hancock.
That was an old request to give her a prize.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we're voting on a motion to basically set this for the first meeting in June and basically suspend the rules to make sure that it happens. Nobody else in the queue? All those in favor of the motion to defer, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Councilmember Swope. Thank you all for being a part of this discussion. All right, we are now on item 31. It's page 16, BL 2022-1206 by Councilmember Taylor, ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from OG to ORIA zoning for property located at 405B 31st Avenue North, approximately 160 feet north of Charlotte Avenue. Councilmember Taylor, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Okay, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Okay, got 3 hands in the back. A show of hands of those who are here opposed to this measure. Seeing nobody opposed, those in favor wish to speak? Nope. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Taylor, you're on your bill.
Thank you. I am going to, at this moment, I do want to say happy birthday to my lovely wife. So I'm late, so we're going to move for approval. So this is the 3rd meeting that I've missed her birthday in my 3 years in council. So move for approval.
Okay, so the motion is to approve, properly seconded by Councilmember Young, who's also having his birthday, and no one clapped when we mentioned his birthday. So I think I heard a point of order. Councilmember Young.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Point of order. I don't know how you missed your birthday last year. You can't blame us because last year our birthday was on Wednesday. Well, then I'm confused. Okay. Just don't throw us all under the bus.
All right. Was there another point of order? Councilmember O'Connell, did you have one? Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to rise. I don't know if I'm rising on behalf of the body, but I will rise, at least on behalf of myself, to comment that one of the reasons I did not applaud for the council member from District 10 is I know that he will be forever young.
Now that song's in my head, right? Forever young.
Feel like a motion to adjourn maybe in order. All right. We are on BL 2022-1206. Proper motion has been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We're on BL 2022-1207 by Councilmember Toombs. That's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from IWD to MUG zoning. Property located at 210 Cumberland Bend, approximately 1,160 feet east of Great Circle Road, 5.04 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Request to open a public hearing.
All right, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition of this measure. No hands either way. Councilmember Toombs, declare the public hearing closed. You're on your bill.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs has moved for approval of BL 2022-1207, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. 1207 is passed. All right, BL 2022-1208 by Councilmember Benedict. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS10 to R10 zoning. Property located at 1308 Cardinal Avenue, approximately 310 feet east of Kennedy Avenue, is 0.23 acres. Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Okay, declare the public hearing open. Show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Seeing none, declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Benedict, you're on your
I'd
bill.
like to move approval, please.
The motion is to approve on second reading, 1208, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. 1209, Councilmember Toombs. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing RS 7.5 to R8 zoning for property located at Monticello Drive, approximately 800 feet north of West Trinity Lane. It's 1.33 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
Declare the public hearing open. A show of hands of those who are in favor of this measure. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Seeing none on either side, declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Toombs, you're on your bill.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs has moved for approval of 2022-1209, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Looks like item number 35, Councilmember Young, it looks like notices were not given out on this one. All right, so this one needs to be deferred to the first meeting in July? All done. Okay. Okay, and item 36, this is the last one. Councilmember Toombs, ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from IWD to OR20 NS zoning for property located at 2115 24th Avenue North, 325 feet north of Clarksville Pike, 0.60 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
Declare the public hearing open. A show of hands of those who are here in favor of this measure. Thank you. Show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this measure. Seeing nobody in opposition, would you like to speak? Nope. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you. Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs moves for approval of Bill 2022-1211 for passage on second reading, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of 2022-1211 on second, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. All right, we are now on current resolutions and resolutions. We can go through these fairly quickly. I'm going to tell you the ones that are on consent. We've already handled the first one. We're on item number 38. 1504 is on consent. 1505 on consent. 1507 on consent. 1508 on consent. 1510 on consent. 1511 on consent, 1512 on consent, 1513 is on consent, and 1514 is on consent, okay? Anything needs to be bumped off? Councilmember Johnston. 1507 is bumped, okay. Anything else? All right, here we go. Item number 38, RS 2022-1504 by Allen and Evans. Resolution approving a contract between the Metropolitan Government and Siemens Industry, Inc. to provide building automation system services and maintenance for the downtown detention center. RS 2022-1505, a resolution approving the election of certain notary publics for Davidson County. That's by Councilmember Vercher. The next one is item 42, RS 2022-1508 by Parker Allen and others. A resolution approving Amendment 2 to an agreement between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation, the Metropolitan Government, through the Department of Transportation for the acceptance of work in connection with the construction of a sidewalk on State Route 11 from Douglas Avenue to Trinity Lane. Next item is RS 2022-1510 by O'Connell, Withers, and Young. Resolution authorizing CT Nashville LLC to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 308 Broadway. RS 2022-1511 O'Connell, Withers, and Young. Resolution authorizing A1 Signs, Inc. to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 127 3rd Avenue South. RS 2022-1512 O'Connell, Withers, and Young. A resolution authorizing KC Whiskey River LLC construction and install an aerial encroachment at 111 Broadway. RS 2022-1513 Allen and Young. A resolution approving two amendments to two agreements between the Metropolitan Government and the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation concerning maintenance of closed solid waste disposal facilities. RS 2022-1514 by O'Connell, Benedict, and Evans. A resolution recognizing the Ryman Auditorium, the Mother Church of Country Music, and its 130 years as Music City's most famous and respected concert venue. Those are the bills on consent. Anything needs to be bumped off? Okay, we got committee reports. Let's see, Councilmember Toombs, Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval of RS 2022-1504, 740 against, and 1508 and 1513, 940 against.
All right, Councilmember Withers, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and considered several of these items. We recommended approval of 1508, 1510, 1511, 1512, each of those, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Evans, Public Health.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. We considered RS 2022-1504, voted 8 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, Councilmember Pulley, Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Rules Comprehensive Elections voted to recommend approval of RS 2022-1505 and 1514, 5 in favor and 0 against.
All right, and Transportation Infrastructure, Councilmember Young.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. RS 2022, 1508, 1510, 1511, 1512, and 1513 were all recommended for approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, and I'll move the consent agenda.
All right, Councilmember Young has moved the consent agenda, properly seconded. All those in favor of the consent agenda regarding resolutions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Consent agenda with resolutions passes. All right, we're going to go down and go back and pick up the ones that we missed. Item number 40, RS 2022-1506, resolution authorizing grants not exceeding $1,775,080.27 from the Barnes Fund for Affordable Housing to certain nonprofit organizations selected for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable workforce housing. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I believe we need committee reports. I've got one of them. Would you like me to go ahead with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Affordable Housing Committee voted 4 in favor of the resolution and 2 not voting or abstentions.
All right. And Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs.
Budget and Finance voted to approve 9-4-0 against.
Okay. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized on your resolution.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll move the resolution for approval.
Okay. Councilmember Parker has moved RS 2022-1506 for passage. Properly seconded. Discussion on the resolutions, on the resolution. Okay, seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of 1506 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Okay, 1506 passes. We're on item number 41, RS 2022-1507 by O'Connell, Allen, and Withers. A resolution approving an option agreement between the Metropolitan government and the state of Tennessee authorizing the purchase of property located at 88 Hermitage Avenue. Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to get committee reports, please.
All right. Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval, 9-4-0 against.
All right. Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee voted to recommend approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right. Public Facilities, Councilmember Bradford.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Public Facilities voted 5 in favor, none against.
All right. Back to you, Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move approval of brief comment.
All right. Councilmember O'Connell has moved RS 2022-1507 for passage. Properly seconded. Back to you.
Thank you. I like a bargain, so that's why 3 years ago I thought it was important that we buy this property for $11 million. The price has increased since then to just over 20, and I do think it's worth understanding a couple things. This is still strategically valuable property. It is owned by the state right now. They have elected to dispose some things. This sits between existing MDHA parcels and the proposed site of Wharf Park, and I think there are some excellent uses for it. I do still have a little bit of head scratching about why folks in this body 3 years ago didn't want to buy it, and here we are back again. I have mixed feelings about this. I do think the location is very good. I think the price is harder to reckon with, but I encourage colleagues to consider it and see where you get to in the discussion.
All right. Councilmember Johnston.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I was just made aware that this was actually part of the previous capital improvements budget, spending plan that we approved, and so I'm embarrassed that I didn't catch that. I feel like a little derelict in my duties. So what I don't understand is why, if we decided not to purchase this 3 years ago for $11 million, why would we spend $20 million when the property is obviously almost double the price and also in much worse condition? The person that I talked to that 3 weeks ago walked through the property says that there's going to be mitigation needed for lead-based paint and asbestos, a new roof, including decking. This is a 40,000+ square foot building, by the way. It needs a complete interior gut from new ceilings, walls, floors, including the subfloor. All wiring has been removed for the copper. The plumbing and HVAC will have to be replaced. The exterior painting will be needed to be done. There's siding and fascia that will need to be replaced, all within historic restoration regulations. This is multi-million-dollar renovation to restore this property, and we don't even know what we're going to use it for. If we have $20 million to invest into parks, I've got a list of things that we could use that $20 million for. I've got a park at Paragon Mills that is in desperate need of renovation and repair. There's a building there that had water up to its roof in this previous flood that has still not been demolished or replaced. I think every single one of our parks needs electronic gates. I think there's probably parks in every single one of our districts that need renovation, repair, or some type of investment. And here we are adding to the load of our Parks Department that I believe is already critically underfunded. I am against this. I don't understand why. I'm all for restoring a historic property. That is something that's near and dear to my heart. I don't think this is necessarily the right purchase right now for Metro Nashville or their taxpayers.
All right, thank you, Council Member. Councilmember Bradford.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So I've been debating on this. You know, there's been some serious points made tonight. My concern is the taxpayers. 3 years ago, this body had an opportunity to buy this property at half the cost that's being proposed to now. But because the council didn't take action then, we're asking the taxpayers to pay double the price now. I'm all for protecting historical properties. I think we've lost too many historical properties in the growth of the city. But at the end of the day, is the cost of saving this building worth paying double the price tag of what we could have paid a couple years ago? So I can't reconcile that, and so I'll be voting no.
Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know what the right answer is tonight, but just for historical context, we could have bought this a few years ago. We should have bought this a few years ago. It was going to be the new site for the Nashville School of the Arts, which would have been incredible. Metro Schools did not adequately inform this council of the intentions or the value of that. So here we go. So I don't know why I don't know what the answer is again tonight. But the answer should have been yes 3 years ago, and it would have been a great site for schools. It just didn't pass 3 years ago because it wasn't properly explained by Metro Schools, the value of it. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And as the council member whose district contains the Nashville School of the Arts, I was extremely disappointed when we didn't purchase it 3 years ago because they continue to sit in what's essentially an old auto college on the Tennessee Prep School site and is not worthy of our children's use. So all that to say, I guess, to let the council know, since that time, there has been no new site identified for NSA, and that those capital funds have sat. So my question would be, if we decide not to do this tonight, where do those capital funds go? And I guess I would ask that of legal or the administration.
Mr. Jameson.
I don't know that I have an answer for you on where these specific funds would go if there's not an acquisition determination made made tonight. Presumably back to the general fund for use for other purposes, but I'll have that answer for you in the morning.
Move for one meeting deferral.
Councilmember Sledge has moved for a one meeting deferral, properly seconded. Discussion on the deferral motion. Got people in the queue. If you want to talk on the deferral motion, let me know. All right, we're voting on a one meeting deferral on RS 2022-1507. All those in favor of the one meeting deferral say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Deferrals have it. This one will be deferred one meeting, right? Okay, we're on RS 2022-1509 by Councilmember Withers, Allen, and Stiles. A resolution establishes a new fee structure associated with the processing and review of Metro Planning Commission applications associated with Title 17. Councilmember Withers, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee, I'll go ahead and give my committee report while I'm at it, but the Planning and Zoning Committee voted to defer this to the, I believe it's the second meeting in June, so that it will track with the budget.
Okay. Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs.
Budget and Finance voted to defer to the second meeting in June, 9-0 against.
Okay, Councilmember Withers.
With that, I request deferral to the second meeting in June.
Motion is to defer to the second meeting in June, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you, Councilmember Withers. All right, that takes us to late resolutions. We've got 3 of them. First one is RS 2022. It's a resolution approving a contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville, Davidson County, and Waste Management, Inc. of Tennessee for the provision of solid waste collection and collection of cards. Councilmember Young, can you handle this one?
Of course, Vice Mayor. I'm happy to handle this.
All right, thanks.
I will call for committee reports.
Councilmember Toombs, Budget and Finance.
Which one? Oh, the late file.
We're on a late file, and I'm going to have to go back to rules, I think. But go ahead. Go ahead and on the Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 9-0 against.
Okay. And Transportation, Councilmember Young.
We recommended approval, 7 in favor, 0 against.
All right. Councilmember Pulley, did this one come to you guys?
Yes, and there were no objection by the Rules Committee.
All right, so Councilmember Young, you'll need to suspend the rules to get this one up because it's a late file.
Well, as maybe everyone will indulge me for my birthday, and I'll move to suspend the rules.
Councilmember Young has moved to suspend the rules on his birthday to get this late file resolution up. He's looking, I'm waiting. There's a hand up right there. Do you have a question, or do you have trouble with suspending the rules? All right, so I can't tell you what to do, but right now this is a motion to suspend. If 2 hands go up, then he can't consider it tonight. So I'm looking for 2 hands. There's 1, there's 2. All right, so this one, unfortunately on your birthday, you didn't get it. So the rules are not suspended.
Don't call me if the trash don't get picked up then.
All right, we're on the next one by Councilmember Taylor. It's a resolution approving the 5th Amendment to the lease agreement between the Metropolitan Government through the Nashville Police Department and Signature Center LP for office space for the police advocacy support services.
I signed on to it.
Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to suspend the rules.
All right, Councilmember Pulley, did this one come before you guys?
Yes, and there's no objection to the suspension of the rules.
Okay, Councilmember Toombs would move to suspend the rules to get this one before us tonight. Any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing none, rules are suspended. Let me get some committee reports. Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Withers. This would have been, it's a late filed. Police Department.
That's right. I'm so sorry about that. The Planning and Zoning Committee did consider this one, and we recommended approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, Councilmember Evans, Public Health.
We voted in favor, 8 against, or I'm sorry, 8 in favor, 0 against.
All right, thanks. And Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval, 9-0 against.
All right, you're on your late file resolution.
Move for approval.
Councilmember Toombs has moved for approval of this late file resolution, properly seconded. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. Councilmember Roten has got the last late file resolution. This is a big one. It's a resolution recognizing the Donaldson Christian Academy Wildcat football team as the 2021 Division IIA state football champions. I believe you must have played on that one. All right, so Councilmember Roten, you are recognized.
Move to suspend the rules, committee report.
All right, Councilmember Pulley.
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, this did come before the Rules Committee, and although there was no objection to the suspension of the rules, it was uncovered that it was completely Councilmember Roten's fault that this is late.
Okay, got it.
And I agree.
All right, we were.
And that's Mr. Roten to him. So.
I think we were all trying to figure out why this one was late, but the answer has been made. All right, so Councilmember.
Just to explain, everybody, school's out in 2 weeks, and I'm trying to get them in here before school's out, so that's why we're doing it.
All right, so Councilmember Roten is going to try to move to suspend the rules. Any objection to suspension of the rules? Rules are suspended. You're on your resolution.
Move approval.
Rules. Councilmember Pulley, did you all take a vote on this one?
We did not take a vote on it.
Any report? You have to move to suspend the rules.
I would move to suspend the rules from requiring them to take a vote on it.
So Mr. Roten, not Councilmember Roten, has moved to suspend the rules because there is no committee report. Is there any objection to suspension of the rules on the fact that there is no committee report? Seeing none, the rules are suspended once more for you. You're now on your resolution.
Now I move approval.
Councilmember Roten has moved approval of the resolution with DCA Wildcat football team, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you. They got through the late file resolution. All right, we are now on bills on introduction and first reading. Anything needs to be bumped off of the first reading calendar? All right, if not, we'll take them all up at the same time. Motion to adopt all bills on introduction, first reading. Proper motion, proper second. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing all bills on introduction, first reading, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Okay, we are now on second reading. There's a number of them on consent. Here we go. I am on page, item number 65. I'm on page 27 of mine. BL 2022-1169 is on consent. 1214, item 67 is on consent. 69, item 12-7, item BL 2022-1217 is on consent. 1218 is on consent. 1219 is on consent. 1220 is on consent. 1221 is on consent. 1222 is on consent. 1223 is on consent. 1224 is on consent. 1225 is on consent. 1226 is on consent. 1227 on consent. 1228 on consent. And 1229 is on consent. Any of those things need to be bumped off? Councilmember Benedict? Let's see. 1169 is going to be bumped. That's item 65. Something else, Councilmember Young?
Was 1214 on consent?
1214 was on consent.
Good.
Okay. Anything else needs to be bumped? All right, let's go through these. The first one, 1169, was bumped. So the first one up is 1214. It's item 67, BL 2022-1214 by Alan Young and others. Ordinance amending the Metropolitan Code of Laws to authorize the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewer Services to enter into participation maintenance agreements with developers for infrastructure projects via resolution. BL 2022-1217, Allen and Hancock. Ordinance approving a contract between the Metropolitan Government, Nashville, Davidson County, and Oracle for hosting services of Business Suite R12 and PeopleSoft Pension Calculation Systems. BL 2022-1218, that's item number 70. O'Connell, Allen, and others, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government acting through the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewer Services to enter into an agreement with 804 14th Avenue North LLC to provide improved public sanitary sewer services. BL 2022-1219, item 71, Hager, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept new sanitary sewer and water mains, sewer manholes, fire hydrants, assemblies, and easements for two properties located at Chandler Road, unnumbered, also known as Chandler Reserve Phase 1. 2022-1220, item 72, Hager, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements. Two properties located Chandler Road, also known as Chandler Reserve Phase 2. Item 73, BL 2022-1221, Hager, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville to accept new sanitary sewer, water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrants, assemblies, and easements. Two properties located at Chandler Road, unnumbered, also known as Chandler Reserve Phase number 3. The next one is BL 2022-1222, same sponsors, Hager, Withers, and Young, abandoning sewer mains, easements, and new water and sanitary, except new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, and so forth, for two properties located as Chandler Reserve number 4, or Phase 4. We've got Phase 5, BL 2022-1223, Hager, Withers, and Young. Same thing, accepting new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, for two properties located at Chandler Road. It's Chandler Reserve Phase number 5, BL 2022-1224, Hager, Withers, and Young. The same thing, except new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, for two properties located at Chandler Road, known as Chandler Reserve Phase number 6, BL 2022-1225, Sepulveda, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept the relocation and replacement of fire hydrant assembly and permanent easement for two properties located at 4323 Old Goins Road and 4337 Goins Road. BL 2022-1226, Taylor, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept new sanitary sewer main and sanitary sewer manholes for properties located on 2109 Buchanan Street. BL 2022-1227, O'Connell, Withers, and Young. An ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to relocate a public fire hydrant assembly for property located at 800 Monroe Street. And BL 2022-1228, Sledge, Withers, and Young. An ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to negotiate and accept permanent easements for the Vol Lane Stormwater Improvement Project for three properties located at 2601 Vol Lane and 799 and 799B Montrose Avenue, and then BL 2022-1229, Swope, Withers, and Young. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing stormwater easement rights, property located at 681 Old Hickory Boulevard. Anything needs to be bumped off that calendar? All right. Second reading consent. I've got Councilmember Toombs. You got some on budget and finance.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval of Bill 2022-1169, 1214, 1217, and 1218, 940 against.
All right. Councilmember Lee, Education.
Education.
Oh, wait a minute. It didn't come up. 1169 got bumped. So you'll have to wait. Sorry.
Well, it came out of our committee, though.
Okay. I think this is history in the making. Government operations and regulations. Councilmember Hancock.
Not quite yet.
No, not yet. On
but
something
thank
else.
you, Vice Mayor. This is Bill 2022-1217. As usual, the government operations was unanimous and voted 6 in favor and 0 against.
All right. Planning and zoning. Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning and zoning met, and we recommended approval of items 1219, 1221, 1222, 1223, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right. Did you get 1218 in there?
Let me double check that. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. And Councilmember Young, you've got the last report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We heard BL 2022-1214, 1218, 1219, 1220, 1221, 1222, 1223, 1224, 1225, 1226, 1227, 1228, and 1229, and we recommended approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, and I'll move this second reading consent agenda.
All right, Councilmember Young has moved the second reading consent agenda, properly seconded. Any discussion on the second reading consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Okay, so now we're on bills on second reading that were not on the consent calendar. BL 2021-971 by Councilmember O'Connell, Evans, Suara, and others. Ordinance to amend Title II of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to create an Office of Housing and Homelessness. Councilmember O'Connell, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to get committee reports, please.
All right, affordable housing, Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We recommended the bill as substituted, 6 for and 0 against.
All right, and Human Services, Councilmember Stiles.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Human Services voted 4 in favor, 0 against. And I'll throw it back to Councilmember O'Connell to talk about what he wants to do next.
All right, Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move to defer to the first meeting in June with a brief comment.
Okay, the motion is to defer to the first meeting in June, properly seconded. Back to you.
All right, thank you. And let me just, as I do that, kind of as a point of order, I want to turn to Ms. Zeitlin because I've talked to her about the timing of this. I believe the deferral will actually result in an indefinite, but we can recalendar it for that June meeting. Is that correct, Ms. Zeitlin?
You need to request in writing.
I did not mean to cause a problem for Ms. Zeitlin.
Yeah. Do I? You would need to request the reinstatement in writing.
That's fine.
From the clerk.
I will. I know both where the clerk's office and a pen are, so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. So the reason for the deferral, I've been working with the administration on a couple of points. We may need potentially a further amendment. We are still waiting on a report. You all remember the administration allocated some money to undertake a study of our kind of performance and effectiveness with regard to Metro's role in provision of homeless services. The substitute itself, instead of creating an office, a combined office of housing and homelessness, recognizes that we do seem to be experiencing some interim success with the Division of Housing at Metro Planning. Staff there no longer in the mayor's office. The substitute instead seeks to create a standalone Department of Homeless Services. I still think, given recent staffing changes and a kind of a confusing mission, and having worked this bill through the Continuum of Care Homelessness Planning Council, this is still the right approach. So I do still want the bill to be available to be passed in time for the budget. And I think we will also want to see the results of the study that the administration has worked on. So with that, I'm going to renew my motion. Oh, and I guess actually, Mr. President, we do have a substitute, so can we actually go back and procedurally, I need to get the substitute on here, and that's what I want to defer. So I don't know if I need to withdraw the motion to defer.
You need to withdraw your deferral.
All right, I'll withdraw the motion to defer and move the substitute, please.
All right, so Councilmember O'Connell has moved to substitute, I think it's in the package, on BL 2021-971, properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation of the substitute.
Thank you. The substitute, which was reviewed by both committees, is what actually creates the Office of Homeless Services. And now I would like to move to defer the bill. Let's get the bill as substitute, I guess.
All right, so you need to move the substitute.
Yes, please.
And okay, so Councilmember O'Connell has moved the substitute, properly seconded. You've heard an explanation of the substitute. Any questions on the substitute? Seeing none, all those in favor of the substitute say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Substitute's adopted. You're on your bill as substituted. Now you can defer.
Thank you, Mr. President. And really would like to just recognize and appreciate the many co-sponsors here. I think people in this body and people in the community understand the urgency of the issue of both housing and its impact on the unhoused in the city of Nashville. So hopefully we can continue working together towards something that works for everyone as we move this bill toward final passage. And with that, I would like to move to defer until the first meeting in June.
All right, so motion is to defer the first meeting in June, properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. This one's deferred to the first meeting in June. Item number 64, BL 2022-1164 by Sledge, O'Connell, Hauser, and others. Ordinance to amend chapter 9.30 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws pertaining to construction sites. Councilmember Sledge, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. As for committee report.
Government operations, Councilmember Hancock.
History in the making. We approved the second substitute, 5 in favor, 1 against, no longer unanimous. And then we approved as substituted, 5 in favor, 1 against.
Okay, thank you. All right, Councilmember Sledge, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I ask to suspend the rules to get before the body the late second substitute.
Okay, so there was a late second substitute that was sent out by email this afternoon. Councilmember Pulley, did you all consider it in rules?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, rules considered the late nature of the filing, and there were no objections to the late nature.
All right, Councilmember Sledge, you're recognized.
Thanks. I'd ask to suspend the rules.
Okay, so Councilmember Sledge is asking to suspend the rules to get a late second substitute up before us tonight. Is there any objection to suspension of the rules? Seeing none, rules are suspended. Councilmember Sledge, you're on your second substitute.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So second substitute takes into account discussions that I do want to thank Mike Jameson and thank legal and thank Codes Director Herbert for helping pull together all those departments and also industry leaders to discuss what potentially could be come to as an agreement. That is what is reflected in this late second substitute. So before you note that there's a lot of these zoning codes that have been explicitly called out as to which these would apply to. That was a request both of the Codes Department and the industry. Notably, I will say that DTC is not in this list. I believe there is a DTC-specific solution possible, but it is not contained within this substitute. It does contain the previous language we discussed on the substitute that was already on the bill, where we move from a construction noise ordinance to an outdoor construction ordinance. That was at the request of the Codes Department. And then the late second substitute language you will see, if you saw in your emails, I will read it out for the record as well. It says, this provision shall not apply to activities necessary to mitigate safety or significant traffic concerns during the stated restriction hours, such as concrete activities, utility and road work, hauling of large loads, and similar. So, in other words, as we were talking through with the industry and what their needs were regarding outdoor construction and the hours, which do not change in this bill, concrete specifically came up multiple times, and then contractors and builders did ask that it may be made explicit that when they're transporting materials or prepping, that also not be included. It has not been considered in the past, per Director Herbert's statements. It has not been considered as part of the current provision. So with all that explanation, I would ask council members to support this second substitute because it will bring zoning codes that all of us have been using very frequently over the last decade, such as SP, mixed use. You can see the list. ORI, I know I've had several in the district that I represent, and I will note to folks, when ITS ran the complaints that they believed were construction and noise related, the district I represent came out with the most. So please know that I am trying to find a countywide solution, but it sparks from a district specific issue. But with that, I would ask for approval. Thank you.
All right, so the motion is to approve 2022-1164 as substituted, properly seconded. Discussion on the bill. Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I really appreciate Councilmember Sledge's leadership on this, and this is something that I know my constituents have had interest in, and that we've done some work on. We're working off of a new Title IX that a lot of colleagues supported last term that I think gave us the basis to do important work like this, or Chapter 9, I guess, and where I think the second substitute still leaves some of my constituents a little bit out of sorts is that now we are back in a territory where the downtown code is effectively excluded from these provisions, and I think there is still strong interest among urban residents in getting some kind of protection. So whether we're looking for an amendment on third, because I understand Councilmember Sledge's urgency to get this done for everybody else, I'd still am either going to be needing to look for an amendment on third reading or, come back with a kind of a fast follow-up approach that responds to these protections and tries to get something available for urban residents. But I do appreciate his work on the bill, and I am going to support it.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Pulley.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I shared my concerns about this bill, and I do want to commend Councilmember Sledge. It sounds to me my biggest concern representing an area that's got a commercial area where there is limited ability to get through this commercial area, expecting some pretty significant construction to be undertaken in the near future. I had a big concern about traffic issues caused by mainly the concrete construction and having to force those trucks in to road closures during the day. And I believe the language that I read, although I wasn't able to make the committee meeting for the discussion on this issue, it certainly sounds like that has been addressed. And absent any concerns beyond that, I'm going to support this. So I appreciate Councilmember Sledge and his leadership and his work on addressing those concerns. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Pulley. Councilmember Lee, you're recognized.
Yes, I just wanted to get something completely straight in my head. You said that the hours that we currently have in law do not change.
Councilmember Sledge.
Yes, Vice Mayor, that's correct. As stated in the substitute, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is when work is not permitted, except for the months of June, July, and August, where that time goes from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. That was a change we made under Councilmember Benedict's leadership a couple years ago.
Thank you.
All right. All right, anybody else in the queue? All right, we're on BL 2022-1164 as substituted. Oh, we're still on the substitute. I'm sorry. All right, so we're still on the substitute, so we'll get that passed. I'm sorry. We are on the substitute. Anybody else in the queue? All those in favor of the substitute say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, so I've got one no, but the substitute passes on second reading. Now you're on your bill, BL 2022-1164, as substituted. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move as substituted.
Okay, so he's moved as substituted, properly seconded. Any other discussion on the bill? All right, seeing none, we're ready to vote. We're on BL 2022-1164 as substituted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, so any abstentions? All right, the bill passes on second reading. We'll move on to third. All right, we're on BL 2022-1169 by Councilmember Benedict, Allen, and Withers, an ordinance approving a lease agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government acting through the Board of Education and East End Prep. Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move to defer this one meeting with a re-referral to all committees and a brief explanation.
All right, let's get committee reports real quick. Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee recommended approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval, 9-4-0 against.
All right, Education, Councilmember Lee.
The Education Committee approved 5-4-0 against.
All right, now Councilmember Benedict, now you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So the administration and I have been working on some information gathering from MNPS. So I'm awaiting that information, and there is no concern in regards to the lease timeline. So if I defer this one meeting, my goal is to hopefully get it passed next meeting on second, and we'll be in good shape to make sure it's renewed on time.
All right.
So with that, I renew my motion to defer one time.
All right, so the motion is to defer one meeting, properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, all those in favor of the deferral motion, one meeting, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We're on BL 2022-1213, item number 66, an ordinance amending Chapter 6.81 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws regarding booting services. Councilmember Young, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Budget and Finance, Councilmember Toombs. It is item 66.
Got it. Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval, 9-4-0 against.
All right, and Transportation.
We voted approval as amended, 7 in favor, 0 against. And so I will move for approval, and then I would also like to move my amendment.
All right, let's do the amendment first. Got a motion on the amendment, properly seconded. Back to you on explanation for the amendment.
It is housekeeping in nature.
A housekeeping amendment by Councilmember Young. Discussion on the housekeeping amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment's adopted. You're on your bill as amended.
I would move approval on the bill as amended.
All right, Councilmember Young has moved approval of 2022-1213 as amended, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Councilmember Young. We're on item number 68, Bill 2022-1215 by Councilmember Allen and Hancock. Ordinance amending Title 16 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by adding Section 16.04.180, amending Section 16.12.220, 16.400, 20.250, and 28.110 relating to fee schedules for building permits, gas mechanical permits, plumbing permits, electrical permits, as well as fees relating to inspections, re-inspections, examination of plans, refunds, as well as administrative fees and other fees charged by the Department of Codes Administration. Councilmember Hancock. Councilmember Allen is not here. Councilmember Hancock, you're recognized.
Committee reports, please.
All right, Budget and Finance. Councilmember Toombs.
So my notes say that Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval as substituted, 8-4-0 against.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Hancock, Government Operations.
We voted to approve as substituted, 6 in favor, 0 against.
All right. You're on your bill.
Move for approval?
You'd move for the substitute.
Move for the substitute approval.
So Councilmember Hancock has moved for passage of the substitute on 2022-1215. Properly seconded. Explanation of the substitute. Ms. Darby?
The substitute changes the section number 16.04.180 to 16.04.177 as 180 is currently in use.
Right.
I like sevens anyway, so I'd like to move for approval of the substitute.
All right, so Councilmember Hancock has moved for approval of the substitute. Again, properly seconded. Discussion on the substitute. Seeing none, all those in favor of the substitute say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You're on your, the substitute passes. You're on your bill as substituted.
And I'd like to move the bill as substituted.
All right, so Councilmember Hancock has moved Bill 2022-1215 as substitute for passage on second reading. Properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You adopt. All right, I think that gets us through all bills on second reading. Okay, so I'm going to go through items on third reading on the consent agenda. Item 82, 1100 is on consent. 1101 is on consent. 1170 is on consent. 1171 on consent. 1172 on consent. 1173 on consent. 1174 on consent, 1175 on consent, 1176 on consent, 1177 on consent, 1178 on consent, 1179 on consent, 1180 on consent, 1181 on consent, 1182 on consent, 1183 on consent, 1184 on consent, 1185 on consent, 1186 on consent, 1187 on consent, 1188 on consent, and 1212 is on consent. Everything's on consent.
Ow.
Councilmember Mendez.
Oh. Oh.
Can you take 1170 off consent, please?
1170 is now removed from consent. Here comes some more. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now that the floodgates have been opened, 1100 and 1101, please.
Okay. 1100 is off consent, and 1101 is off consent. Anybody else needs to take anything off? All right, so we have now 3 bills off the consent. Everything else is on consent. All right. And they were the first 3 bills. Okay. All right, so we're starting with 85, BL 2022-1171 by Councilmember O'Connell. Ordinance provide for the designation of public property within specified areas of downtown. Temporary special event zone, 6 o'clock a.m. on June 8th, 2022, ending at midnight, 12 o'clock on June 13th, 2022, relative to the use of these areas, in conjunction with the 2022 CMA Fest. Councilmember Allen has the next bill, BL 2022-1172, ordinance approving a contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville, Davidson County, and CSS International for consulting, development, implementation, and managed services. BL 2022-1173 by Allen, an ordinance approving a master agreement between the Metropolitan government and JP Morgan Chase Bank for purposes of stabilizing the net expenses incurred in the purchase of gasoline or diesel fuel. BL 2022-1174 by Allen, ordinance approving a master agreement between the Metropolitan government, Davidson County, and Cargill, Inc. for the purpose of stabilizing the net expenses incurred in the purchase of gasoline and or diesel fuel. BL 2022-1175, Virtue and Pulley, ordinance readopting the code of the Metropolitan government prepared by Municipal Code Corporation, including supplemental replacement pages thereof, enacted on or before October 5th, 2021. BL 2022-1176, O'Connell, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to abandon easement rights for 6 properties located at southeast corner of Hay Street and 16th Avenue North, formerly a portion of alleys number 373 and 380. BL 2022-1177, Taylor, Allen, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government through the Water Department, hereinafter known as Metro, to enter into an agreement with Rock Block Flats LLC, provide improved public sanitary sewer service through the construction of an improved stormwater system. BL 2022-1178, Syracuse, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to negotiate and accept a permanent easement for the Delrose Drive stormwater improvement project for 2 properties located at 120 and 122 Delrose Drive. BL 2022-1179, Gamble, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manhole, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements property located at Brick Church Pike, also known as Mulberry Downs Phase 4. BL 2022-1180, Gamble, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to abandon existing fire hydrant assemblies and to accept new water and sanitary sewer main, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 3517 Brick Church Pike. BL 2022-1181, Gamble, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements property located at 3517 Brick Church Pike, also known as Mulberry Downs Phase 6. This is BL 2022-1182, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government accept a new sanitary sewer manhole and easement property located at 1721B 6th Avenue North, also known as 6th Avenue North Town Home. BL 2022-1183, Hager, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer force main appurtenances easements for property located at 3233 Lakeshore Drive, also known as Lakeshore Drive Phase 1. Bradford, Withers, and Young has BL 2022-1184, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to abandon existing water main and easements to accept a new water main, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements for property located at 2 Dale Parkway. BL 2022-1185, Withers and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements property located at 3214 Murfreesboro Pike. BL 2022-1186, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer, water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements property located at 7256 Centennial Place. That's Roberts, Withers, and Young. BL 2022-1187, Sledge, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to accept new sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes property located at 4G Trimble Street, also known as Wharf Avenue Townhome. BL 2022-1188, Sledge, Withers, and Young, ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan government to abandon existing sanitary sewer and water main, manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements, except new sanitary sewer and water main, sanitary sewer manholes, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements, 16 properties located at 8th Avenue South and Bass Street. And BL 2022-1212, Toombs and Allen, ordinance approving a participation agreement between the Metropolitan government through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation and CRP WP Alta Metro Center owner LLC for trailhead improvements at the Metro Center Levee Greenway. Anything needs to be bumped off that I read? All right, I think we have 2 bills on third reading consent that had committee reports. Councilmember Withers, you've got them both.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I have 1100.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 1100, 1101, so you don't have to worry about it. Well, you will in just a minute.
In just a moment, yes.
All right, so Councilmember Withers, can you move the third reading consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to move the consent agenda.
All right, Councilmember Withers has moved the third reading consent agenda, properly seconded. Any discussion on the third reading consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You adopt. We are now on the last 3 bills of the calendar. The first 2 can be taken together. Councilman Rosenberg? Okay, as he's walking out. Taken together? Okay. 82 and 83 can be taken together. BL 2022-1100 by Rosenberg. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by amending specific plan for properties located at 5754 River Road and River Road unnumbered, approximately 750 feet west of Charlotte Pike, zoned SP R40 and R80, 16.47 acres. And the companion bill, BL 2022-1101 by Rosenberg. Ordinance authorized building material restrictions requirements for BL 2022-1100. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Councilmember Rosenberg, you are recognized on both those bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee reports, please.
Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and recommended approval, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions for both items.
All right, Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are very close to dotting the T's, crossing the I's. Move a deferral for one meeting, please.
Okay, on both bills?
Yes, please.
All right, Councilmember Rosenberg has moved to defer 1100 and 1101 for one meeting. Properly seconded. Discussion on the deferral. Seeing none. All those in favor of the deferral say aye. Opposed, no. The bills are deferred one meeting. Last bill on the calendar is item number 84, Bill 2022-1170 by Allen Sledge, Van Reese, and others. Ordinance authorizing the Health and Education Facilities Board of Metro Government to negotiate and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes from its lessees operating mixed-income multifamily housing facilities, including housing for low and moderate income persons, and approving the program for determining qualifications and eligibility for such payments. Councilmember Sledge, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think we already have committee reports, but I'll double check. Are all committee reports in on those?
All committee reports.
Okay, I will move approval with a brief comment.
Okay, so Councilmember Sledge has moved approval of BL 2022-1170. Properly seconded, Councilmember Sledge.
Thanks. So obviously I'm not the lead sponsor, as Councilmember Allen is. I'll just give my 2 cents on why I think it is important, and I do understand concerns that have been raised in the body about appropriating funds from the general fund for specific uses. I would posit that there is no more important specific use than affordable housing for our funds, and adding this tool to create the ability to do pilots through this board, which I know has had question marks around it from time to time, but adding the capacity to do that is part of the mentality and philosophy that I have when it comes to affordable housing, which is you have to be doing everything all the time in order to meet the dire need that we have regarding affordable housing. So providing ourselves with an additional tool, which I think could be up to $3 million, if I remember correctly from analysis, to me, I think is worth it. I think it's worth creating this incentive, especially for mixed income multifamily properties that quite frankly, are the kinds of stuff that can get built, especially from the private sector. I think we're doing a great job when it comes to funding for nonprofit development through the Barnes Fund. We have the Catalyst Fund that's getting stood up. We have a toolbox to be envied in this city, but it doesn't mean that we can rest on our laurels. This is another tool that I think will be extremely valuable, and the fact that it helps incentivize the private market means that units will get built. And so with that, I would ask colleagues to support and pass this on final reading. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
All right, so I got a motion to approve, properly seconded. Councilor Mendez.
Thanks. I won't belabor it. I would refer people to my comments at Budget and Finance and on the floor on second reading a few weeks ago. This council, this mayor are in the process of dramatically increasing the amount of property tax revenue that's essentially set aside, pre-spent before the annual appropriations process that's happening in the absence of any sort of policy about how much we're trying to do that with. And I've been on record with folks for almost 3 years now that I'm opposed to this sort of thing in the absence of an overall policy, and so I'm going to stick to that. And if it's anything like a couple weeks ago, I'll be the only no vote, but so be it.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Mendez. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and I certainly appreciate that criticism and Councilmember Mendez's consistency on that effect. I do think that this is a worthwhile program for us to try to utilize to get basically affordable units where they otherwise would not occur. We do sort of cordon off future property tax revenues for all kinds of purposes. We voted unanimously to cordon off large amount of future property tax revenues at the River North site for the Oracle campus for site prep and infrastructure. We determined that was a priority. All the rumors that we hear about any potential stadium deal include cordoning off future tax revenues, and I think that this is also a huge priority for Nashville. More affordable housing and more developments in more neighborhoods. So I'm super happy to vote in favor of this legislation. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Benedict.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So a couple of weeks ago, I spoke in favor of this. There is an 18-acre site in my district that currently generates about $120,000 in property tax revenue a year. There is an SP that's been filed that potentially we don't know, but this is the type of development that would fit the bill for, fit this bill, literally, and the new development could generate as much as $3.2 million in taxes on that site, so that's a $3.1 million increase. We could abate $2.5 million and potentially get 300 units from that, and we would still have triple the tax revenue on that parcel than what we receive today, and we would have created 300 affordable units. So I just want to point out a couple things. The no pilot agreement would go above 80%, and that's only for the deepest affordability, and that's in the DTZ. So it would leave revenue for school and for debt service. Additionally, the long-term commitment of this program is not, it's by entering into 15-year agreements, we're creating housing secure options for Nashvillians. So I concur with my other colleagues' comments that I understand the concern of the no vote on this bill, but I also think that there are enough curbs in place that, and that this does require coming in front of a board, a different board. But anyway, I got off track there because I'm looking at all my notes, but I just would concur that this is a tool in the toolkit that really can make a difference, and it's something that I'm hopeful we'll see in my district in the next 2 years. For that, I hope that this has support and passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Hall, you're recognized.
Call the question.
Councilmember Hall has called the previous question. We're voting on the previous question. All those in favor of the previous question say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Previous question prevails. We'll try this by voice vote. Actually, we probably won't.
I said, can we go on the board?
Yeah, we can go on the board because I think there's going to be a no, so we should do that anyway. Mr. Clerk. We'll be voting on BL 2022-1170 on third and final reading. Ready? Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Again, you're voting on BL 2022-1170 for passage on third reading. Everything's in? All right, Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. Ayes 24, noes 4, 1 abstention. Bill passes on third reading. I believe that's it. I need a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Properly seconded. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye. Opposed, no. We stand adjourned.
I told the council has concluded about a 3-hour business meeting tonight. Sounds long, but actually with 39 of the bills that get considered tonight being public hearing zoning matters, I got through fairly quickly on most of the legislation tonight. The council, among their major events tonight, they approved 31-0, putting 4 charter amendments on the ballot for August for the voters to consider. One amendment would change and clarify the way the charter can be amended, particularly with citizens' petitions. This has been the subject of some controversy and lawsuits in recent years. The proposal would require at least 10% of registered voters to sign the petition for this to happen. It had been based on percentage of people who had voted in the last general election, which varies pretty widely, and Councilman thought it ought to be a more consistent number. It was going to be 15% originally, but was amended down to 10%. And the second amendment would clarify the qualifications and the physical fitness qualifications as well for Metro Police. Third amendment would impact the operations and some of the titles in the Metro Health Department. A fourth proposed change would establish within the charter the Metro Department of Transportation. That's already been done by a memorandum of understanding between Departments of Public Works and Water Services. That just barely got into the final vote. It passed 27-0. It had to get 27 votes. Both times it came up first to put the bill together and then to actually approve the bill. It only got 27. There's some council members continue to have some concerns about how this is going to work in terms of trash pickup and things like that. They're concerned that it's not going to be specifically mentioned in this amendment. Some people say that's not necessary, but that was the reason I think it got so few votes. It was 27. Nobody voted against the amendment, but there were 3 abstentions. 27 was the minimum amount of votes it had to get onto the ballot and into the bill to be considered tonight. The council also in the area of affordable housing approved a resolution that would allocate $1.775 million from the Barnes Fund to 14 nonprofit organizations selected for the purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable and workforce housing. In the area of parks, the council deferred an opportunity to get an option with the state to buy historic property located at 88 Hermitage Avenue. The state owns the property. The city desires to put it as part of the park system. Parks Board has approved it. Parcel is 3.1 acres. Some council members are quite concerned that the purchase price for this is over $20 million, and apparently they had an opportunity to buy this 3 years ago, and Metro decided not to, for only $11 million, and the appraised value of the property, according to the council staff, is now at $14.4 million. So I think the council wants to look at that a little bit more, think about it, and it'll come back again in 2 meetings. 2 memorializing resolutions on the agenda tonight. Both were approved. One bill would recognize the Ryman Auditorium, the Mother Church of Country Music, for its 130 years as Music City's most famous and respected concert venue. Another memorializing resolution was filed late, but was approved by the council, recognizes Donaldson Christian Academy's Wildcat football team as the 2021 Division 2A state football championships, or state football champions. On second reading, the council made a substitute on the new Metro Office of Housing and Homelessness. It's now just to be the Metro Office of Home for Homelessness. They think this is a better way to address the issues. There are some additional clarifications and changes that perhaps the mayor's office is being worked with on this bill. So it was deferred to be considered again in 2 weeks when the council comes back again. Council also deferred another lease agreement for a Metro charter school. There have been several of these that have either been withdrawn or didn't get 21 votes. Only one's been approved. There doesn't be a problem this time, particularly on the lease, but there's more information needed from Metro Schools, so the bill again was deferred tonight on second reading. The council also approved a 10-year contract with Oracle, a technology company that's soon to be a major presence in Nashville. The contract would pay Oracle $15 million for hosting services of e-business suite R12 and PeopleSoft pension calculation system. Council approval was needed for this because it's going to be a sole source contract, meaning Metro purchasing officials have determined that Oracle is the only source for these kind of services to be rendered in the Nashville area. On bills in public hearing, the council approved a change in regulations and requirements, the zoning regulations and requirements that the Metro enforces regarding local daycare facilities and daycare homes. Also, the council approved, they deferred a zoning bill that would involve the River Chase apartments in the Dickerson Road area. A few months ago, residents there had complained they were being forced out with no time to get help or to relocate. The council deferred this measure to get that help. Apparently, there's still things may be worked out about that since the bill was again deferred tonight. Among late resolutions, the council approved a 5-year, $6 million contract with Waste Management of Tennessee to continue to assist the city with its trash pickups, an area where Metro has struggled quite a bit in recent months. Council is now in recess until the third Tuesday of the month. You might notice we're meeting on a Thursday tonight. That's because the normal meeting time would have been on Election Day, and the council has decided to postpone its meetings when it conflicts with the local election. So we're going back to the regular schedule, meet on the third Wednesday in May. That'll be May 17th. We'll be here at that time to provide live coverage. We'll be looking at the budget for the first time when we come by. When it comes back, the budget will be on first reading. When it comes up on May 17th, we'll be here at that time to provide live coverage. Until then, I'm Pat Nolan, and good night from the council chambers. Tonight's meeting of the Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County Council has been coming to you live from the council chambers at the historic Metro Courthouse. It's been a public affairs presentation of the Metro Nashville Network.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.